That's kind of how he was, and I just thought it was like the funniest thing. I was like, oh
dude,
man,
and it's like you're saying, like you don't mean anything about it.
Yeah,
it's just like, dude, like take it like with a grain of salt, like water off a duck's ass, like you know what I mean. It's just kind of like neck, move on.
duck's ass.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
I like that though.
That's loud.
But you just kind of move on.
Water off a duck's ass, bro. Damn, we have the Coast Boys support that.
That's the message for the day.
Man, just water off a duck's ass.
If I don't get it right the first time, then I wanna be with you. Don't know if I will live to see another try. 'Cause second chances, they don't ever seem to make their way to me. I wish I could rewind.
Welcome to the episode of the Coast Boys podcast. My name's Gabe. I'm here with Izzy and Kaylor. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm chilling.
Good, man. I'm ready for this. I'm excited.
Oh yeah,
So what's up, Kaylor? How you been?
chilling, man.
Dude, tell us what you've been up to.
Yeah.
You're in town now? What's up?
Yeah, what's going on?
Same shit, different day. Just working at Safeway. I'm a cashier at Safeway.
Word down the street is you're the fastest cashier in the county.
Oh, facts. Fastest cashier in the county.
That's what I've been hearing.
for sure.
That's what I've been hearing.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Gang, shout out to Safeway.
Go to Safeway, ask for Kaylor, all right?
Right? Hey, hop in my line. It might be a long wait sometimes, but it'll be quick.
But so you're in town now?
Yeah, just
You've been
in town, chilling, working at Safeway, throwing as much as I can, homework, lifting weights, stuff like that.
Lifting weights? You got a gym at your house or what?
I do. I have a little little Goldman's thing. It's a little squat rack, a little hang cleans, the whole nine.
Nice. Where'd you get that?
I got it on an outlet store. You guys know the outlet store north of town near McDonald's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got it over there, and it's actually kind of funny because I got it when I was a junior in high school. Junior in high school, and it was actually kind of funny because I was going to the dumps because I was taking the trash out with my mom. We were just driving by, and I was with me and a couple of my friends, and we just, I was like, Mom, like, can we stop? We check this thing out.
It was outside. You guys
It was
saw it or something?
outside, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was outside. It had like balloons on it or something. You know what I mean? Like sale or something like that.
Yeah.
But
What is it, a squat rack? Or?
yeah, so it's like a little squat rack, and then you can adjust it, and you can a squat rack will be like 6 foot 5 or whatever it is, and then you can lower it, and then it could be like you put your bench out, and then you got a bench press as well,
nice.
and stuff like that, and then
Sweet.
it comes with the little little racks on the side, so you can put your weights right there if you want to hang clean or something.
Nice.
So it's nice, but yeah, like I said, I got it out of the outlet store. I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, and it's just been, unfortunately, sitting in my back room, since I got it.
Yeah.
You never use it or anything?
No, not really.
So you bought it and then didn't
Yeah,
use
it's
it.
kind of,
It's a great investment. Great
Right.
investment. So you got it when you were in high school?
Yeah, I
What
got
year?
it when it's 15. No. 13, 14.
So you're like a sophomore or junior?
Junior, yeah.
You didn't know how to lift back then?
Not really.
Damn.
No, yeah.
When did you learn how to lift? Do you remember?
No, dude. I learned through YouTube and videos and stuff like that.
Bro, I don't think I told you guys
We
this.
never did that during high school.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I told you guys this, but for my senior project, I did personal training.
Oh yeah.
And fucking, I was job shadowing. I'm not gonna say his name, but it was like this guy that worked out of CV Star.
You knew the guy, or you asked him, or how'd you get it to
I had
interview?
known him, bro. I had known him since I was little, but I don't think he knew me. So I knew him from a mutual friend, and he was like close to their family.
Right.
And I would always hang out with this kid. And so I knew that he was a personal trainer. So I just asked him, like, hey, like, I heard you were a personal trainer a few years back. Like, is it cool if I job shadow you, like, do this? And he's like, yeah, sure. Like, I enjoyed that process. Like, I don't mind doing it for you. I was like, okay. So he's like, just meet me here on Monday at this time after school, and then we'll kind of work, like, I'll everything,
Talk
you know?
about it. Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, I had known about like lifting, but not like anything, like not like how to lift. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew the exercises, but I didn't know, like I didn't really practice them. You know what I'm saying? And like the first day, bro, we're like walking around the weightlifting room over there at CV Star, and if for those that don't know, CV Star is like the majority of the clients are like old people.
Just
like,
we're walking, I've seen, yeah.
We're walking around, dude. So we're walking around, and it's like machines. It's not like free weight or anything. It's like a lot of machines. And he's like, this machine does this. This elliptical is good because you could do this, this, or this. So I'm walking around with him taking notes. Vano, everyone was there. I'm like, shout out to Vano. So I'm like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, hey,
there
what's
working
up, man?
out?
Yeah, he was there working out. Bro, we walked by the mats, like where you do like stretching and abs and stuff. And he was like, there's like this old guy doing like crunches, and he's like, that's how you don't do a sit-up. I was like,
how was he doing them or what? What was he doing?
Bro, I like shitty, but bro, it was so messed up because he was like this old guy trying to work out.
grind, yeah.
And then we walk away and he starts laughing. He's like, that's kind of the perks of being the personal trainer. I was like, bro, you're a bully, right?
That just shows you how many people don't know what they're doing. That's what I'm saying. I learned my shit through YouTube.
Yeah.
Like nobody else showed me like this is how you do it, like and modeled for me. I found it on YouTube and I was like, okay, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And even then, like I try to mimic what I see online, but maybe I'm still doing it wrong, you know?
I feel it.
So there's so many people who need that personal trainer help.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like honestly, like for us, like, you know, being athletes, I feel like one thing that, like, you know, especially for me coming from, you know, here and then going to Santa Rosa, it was a big wake up call. Cause it was like you said, like, you know, I've never really had that exposure. I've never had to, you know, do a hang clean, do a power clean, you know, no one's really taught me how to do that. So, you know, showing up in that, like, you know, in that situation and then like, oh, we're hang cleaning today. It's kind of like,
What are we doing?
What the fuck's a hang clean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So then it's like unfortunate, but you know, you got to be one of those people that, you know, singled out of the group. You know, I'm over here. I got to practice my form on hang
that's
clean.
the shittiest part is
100%.
learning how to do it, learning the form and perfecting the form.
And
but
did
then
you-
once you do it, it's so much fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like once
Those
you figure
exercises
it
are
out,
so much
yes.
fun, bro. I
Yeah.
love those exercises.
You're just building confidence. 'Cause
Yeah,
now you know how to
facts.
do
Yeah,
it. You're like,
dude.
okay, I can do it with the right freaking
And
technique.
it's just such a good feeling once you wake up the next morning and like your back is sore, your
Yes,
forearms
you
are
know
sore,
you did it right.
your legs are sore. Like it's
Yeah.
a compound exercise, so it just targets so many
Facts.
muscles
That's how
instead
it
of just
was.
like bench press and your chest is sore the next
Right,
day.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're lifting with your arms, but my arms are never sore when I bench. Just my chest.
And that's
Yeah.
one thing too. It's like I think back to, you know, my lifting days, like in high school and stuff. It's like, you know, they basically they tell you, you're gonna bench press today. You know, you're gonna curl.
You're gonna squat.
Exactly. You know, and it's just kind of like, you know, you're doing all these things, but it's like in reality you're doing kind of like the bare minimum.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's like, you know, little individual, like, you know, instances, like, you know, muscle groups and things like that. You can be working out you didn't even know about.
Yeah.
You know, and you didn't really learn about
Yeah.
until like, you know, you got to like get into it yourself.
Yeah.
And who was telling you that? That was for football? That was for what?
Yeah, just kind of like in everything, like, you know, like I said, like I feel like, especially,
Make sure you're talking on the mic.
oh my bad. I said, especially like, you know, here in Fort Bragg, like I said, like every summer for football, especially we go in there and like we have like these weight rooms, you know, like, and we have to do all this stuff, and it's like, you know, some people will take it serious, some people won't, and it's just like, you know, it's like you're doing these lifts that they want you to do, but it's like in reality, it's like, you know, you're doing like, you know, like what a bare minimum high school player would do. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, like you should be like, okay, like, you know, like in my opinion, I should be like, okay, like I see that, I should do that, but in reality, I should like, you know, get into it more, ask questions, you know, and it's like, and that's one thing I feel like as a kid, especially in high school, I didn't do enough, you know, like I didn't know, like, you know, like, hey, you know, can you show me how to hang clean?
Because there's no class that
No.
tells
You don't know.
that.
Yeah,
Nobody,
you don't know.
Exactly.
How can you ask if you don't know? That's the
Exactly.
thing. Like in high school, it'd be like simple. We're gonna do lower body today. We're gonna do upper
Yeah,
body today. We're gonna do
exactly.
back today. So
Exactly.
it's like, but then you
Even
go
at
on
that.
and you're working with like, dude, our strength and conditioning coach over at San Bern was like, he like was the strength and conditioning coach for the Dodgers.
Okay.
Oh,
So
really?
like he had a lot of experience.
Oh,
and
shit.
bro, like the first few weeks we wouldn't touch weights. It
What
would
would you
just
guys
be
do?
like band work and like functional movement.
Dude,
and
that's the
like
thing. I didn't know anything about bands. Bands are huge. You're the one who was trying to get me into it. You
Yeah.
like tell me to order some on Amazon or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm like, why? Like, what the hell am I doing with the
yeah,
bands?
so the cool thing about those is like you can. So I have like little bands that you just like, you know, like when you do like monster walks, like you can wrap them around your legs, and if you have like, for example, I have like, I don't have enough to be putting like 245 on each side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or 245 total. So I was like, what can I do with what I have?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, excuse me, but when you have bands, you can do less weight and then you can get more out of it because you can just like, you can switch up the tempo. You can use the bands, like you can do more reps. Like, so there's a
Honestly,
lot of variations to it.
I've had like this stint, and I want to say like for like a couple months where it's like every night I try to like, do an exercise before I go to bed or something like that. And like I ordered a thing of bands off of this, like, like scrolling through Instagram. It's like, you got different weights, different sets, and things like that. And I saw one of those and it was kind of like, interesting because it was one of those things that you could put like 3 bands on. And it's like one's 10 pounds of force, one's 20 pounds of force, another one's like, like 30 or something.
Like the long ones? Or
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
short ones?
The long ones.
Yeah. Those are cool.
So it's like, you can be sitting here, like I try to hit like, a couple curls before I go to bed, try to do something, and it's like, it's super beneficial because it's like, you're sitting here in reality, it feels like, oh shit, I'm just curling a band. But it's like, honestly, if you want to tone up, and get a little, get shredded a little bit, light reps, heavy sets.
It's like any resistance. Like, what's the difference between a band and like one of those machines that people do curls, do curls out of the gym? It's the same thing. As long as you're getting something out of it, you know what I'm saying? And that's like, I follow a page on Instagram where it's this dude that like does so many band exercises, and you're just like, what the fuck? I didn't even know I could do that with a band. Like doing traps and doing curls and doing triceps. I think that's
the biggest thing for me is like when you told me like you should order a set, like I just don't know what I would do with it.
You're like what? I'm just gonna stand on the wall, like
exactly.
Yeah, dude, there's so much, bro. Like even like I was doing like deadlifts with the band. So you like put each side on it, and then like it dangles down, and then like where they hit the ground, you put your feet on it, and then all of a sudden when you go up, like that point when you're kind of like when you're regular deadlifting without a band, like that hardest part is kind of getting up to that final boom, and then you come back down. With a band, it's even harder. You know what I'm saying? So then all of a sudden you have to control that, and then control when you come down. You don't just let it slam.
That's the biggest thing. I think what I learned from lifting is I remember I would go into like the weights, like the sports center or whatever. Or what is it called? The
CV Star. That's what you would
not the CV Star. No, not with those old people. What's the other? It's
the Mendocino
Sports Club.
Sports Club.
Yeah, I'd go in there, and I literally like it was the first time I had no experience. I hadn't watched any videos, nothing. I just knew like I need to lift heavy, right? That's what I came into, and so I'd go lift like literally the heaviest weights I could possibly. If I could pick it up, I try to lift it. I'm over here trying to curl it, and I'm just like, dude, I'm just like messing up my freaking ligaments. And I remember some old guy came up to me. He's like, hey man, like there's no shame in like getting a lighter weight. And
that's awesome
curling
that he told you that.
And at the time I was kind of like offended. I was like, no, I can do this. Like, it's only whatever. It's only 35 pounds. But I was like, this.
Dude, listen here, tough guy.
Dude, I was like, this guy's literally trying to give me some words of wisdom. Like, for anybody just trying to get into weights, like there's literally no shame in getting lighter weights and then building your way up. Because you're doing it the right way.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things when I started lifting, I see like more serious. Form is key.
Facts.
Yes.
Dude, like,
chest,
dude,
dude,
I'd rather be doing perfect form with less weight than more weight with shitty form, bro.
But nobody thinks like that because they're just like, I'm gonna lift heavy. I'm gonna try to impress whoever's in the gym.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I learned that the wrong way. Honestly,
I think like, everybody does
with weights, bro. Like especially so like my freshman year in college. We're out here, one day, and this kid comes over. Name's Jordan Brookshire. Shout out for Jordan Brookshire. And Cardinal Newman High School comes out in the spring. He hasn't even graduated yet. And this kid's a freak athlete. No lie. Freak athlete. He's like 215 pounds of solid muscle. And, people are like, hey, Jordan Brookshire is going,
talking about
exactly. You know what I mean?
Big deal. He's a
big deal.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm just like, like hey, like, like, you gotta like step it up this week. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So like, first day he shows up, I watch him, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this kid couldn't even hit a box jump. And I was like,
he's a freak athlete?
Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this kid's a freak athlete. Yeah.
He was just ripped or whatever.
Yeah. But no, he was a freak athlete. After that, like I said, I saw him hit the box jump, and I was kind of like, like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, this is a kid that everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
Saw him fucking hang clean, fucking power clean, a deadlift, dude. And I was like, holy shit. Like, this kid's like throwing it. No.
He did it?
This kid is over here throwing up 300, 30 pounds at the time as a senior in high school, like hang clean with terrible form, terrible everything.
Really?
I swear. So, but I'm over here, and they're just like,
hang cleaning 300 pounds?
Yes, bro. Dude's a geek, dude. Dude's a fucking geek, dude.
Like, you know how hard that is, bro?
Yes,
no idea, no.
Bro. Dude's out here, like I said, it's just natural.
Yeah.
It comes to him natural. And it's like, and it's just like, it's whatever. But I'm out here, like I said, everyone's like, Jordan's coming this week, whatever. So saw him do the box jumps. I see him do the, the hang cleans. I'm kind of like, like, oh shit. So then, like, step up to the deadlifts, and we're in the same group because we're quarterbacks. And I'm just kind of like, all right, well, you know, if this kid can do something, I can do it. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I step up, the last set, last rep. I go up, legit deadlift. Go up, and I'm not lying. My back sounded off like a machine gun. Just pop, 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 pop.
Everyone just ducks.
Yeah, right, bro. And I'm just like, after that, I'm just like, you know, just kind of like, you know, wearing it. You know, I'm just kind of like, all right, whatever, you know, whatever. So I go back, you know, I finished the workout, and we had throwing after that, and hammered that out. You know, I'm like, good.
Walking off,
right.
I'm fine, guys. I'm fine.
Right? So I went to the next day. I woke up the next day, and I just felt shitty, dude. Like, I thought I was gonna throw up. Like, my back was killing me that bad. Like, I thought I was gonna throw up everywhere. I was just like, something's not right. I couldn't walk right. Like, every time I walked, dude, like my foot would drag. My left foot, it would drag. So I went to the coach's office and I talked to them, and I was just kind of like, you know, like, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, all right, take the day off. So then I went to the training room. Went to the training room for a couple weeks, and, you know, same thing. Like, my back wasn't getting any better. It was just kind of like, you know, just like one of those things. So I'd be in there every day. I couldn't lift, couldn't do anything. And then finally I came back to town. I came back to Fort Bragg, and I saw one of my chiropractors, and he was all like, hey man, he's like, he's like, your left foot. He's like, I'm going to pull it down. He's like, try to resist it. I'm like, okay. And, you know, I'm sitting here in my left foot, and he pulls it down and it just goes, like, you know, just like, he's like, resist it. And I'm like, I am.
I'm trying.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I am. And he's like, okay, that's weird. He's like, I'm gonna do it again. I'm like, all right, bet. Same thing. And, you know, just drops over. I'm just kind of like, what? Like, you know what I mean? He's like, dude, resist. I'm like, I am. Like, you know? So then finally he's like, oh shit. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I'm sending you in to the ER right now. He goes, you were getting a CAT scan. He goes, or an MRI.
This freshman year?
This is my freshman year.
Okay.
He goes, you're getting an MRI. He's like, we're going to get an MRI on your back. He's like, we're going to come back with the results, you know, blah, blah, blah. We'll let you know, like, what's going on. So we get the results back, and I herniated 2 discs, and I ruptured 1. And, like, you know, so the way that the doctor described it to me is your spinal cord, like, you know, each spine has a thing, and in between each spine is a disc. And one of my discs shot out, it was like 0.3 millimeters, or, you know, like something stupid. So it shot out like maybe like that much, but it was touching the nerves in my back. So when I say I couldn't, like, you know, like, I didn't have any function in my left foot, like, I didn't have any function. I had drop foot. And yeah, I had drop foot in my back, or in my foot. And then, like, my back was all messed up. And like I said, I literally broke my back. Deadlifting.
Holy crap.
So that was a whole, you know, little stint where I had to sit out for a couple months. Like, I had to go to the chiropractor every single day.
Was this the summer?
It was a spring. So I tried to compete at the beginning of the spring ball. And like I said, I had no function in my left foot. Like, I was there at practice for the first 2 weeks, and I would basically limp around practice, like, do all the drops, do everything, you know, but live periods would come out and I just fall on my face. Like, I legit would fall on my face because my left foot would just give on me.
Dude, that'd be so scary.
Yeah,
dude,
just
not having control.
No,
Yeah.
none. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're just walking, and all of a sudden
You just fall.
it just gives out. And it was just like, you know,
Holy
like
crap.
just snipers, like, you know what I mean? Just like out of nowhere, just like pink, just
So you're
shot
doing
me.
physical therapy for it, or what?
Dude, like I said, I'd go to the chiropractor, and he would adjust me, like, you know, like 2 to 3 times every week, you know, and it just got to the point where it was just like, you know, like slowly but surely I would just start getting results. And it was crazy too, because it was like, you know, like my left foot started, you know, getting better and better and better, to the point where it was like, you know, like someone you know, try to pull it down.
Yeah.
So that was good. And it was like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, people say like, oh, you know, it takes time to, you know, get back and things like that. And it was like, you know, it was slowly but surely. It was like 2 to 3 months. But still, yeah.
Oh,
that's so long.
Yeah, it
Oh my
sucked.
God.
And on top of that too, like I would have to go to work. I worked at Domino's. I'd have to deliver pizzas, like doing the whole
limping over
doing the whole nine.
Damn, how'd you do that?
Bro, dude, only thing that kept me going was going back to the Domino's and getting some breadsticks or something.
Damn.
Yeah, do you have any funny stories from Domino's? Like,
Dude,
delivering pizzas or anything?
You know what's funny is like, it's such a stereotypical thing, but it's like, bro, like You don't know how many times I can count it on so many, like at least like, you know, like 10 or 20 times I've gone to a house, especially in Santa Rosa because it's a college town, you know, like, or in like Roner Park area or something like that. It's so many times. Oh, the pizza's here. Oh, dude, you want a bong rip, dude? F-O, you want a beer? And I'm just like, nah, man, I'm good. I got to go back to work. Like, all right. I'll never forget one time. Because on Domino's, you can put notes. So it's like, you can be like, oh, bring me more ranch. Or,
Extra, like,
yeah. Someone fucking told me to go get them backwoods. So it's like,
Did you?
no, I couldn't get them at the time because they just changed the law from 18 to 21.
Gotcha.
So I was like, fuck, you know what I mean? I was like, I told the guy, I was like, hey man, like, you know, I'm sorry, you asked for the backwoods, but I couldn't get you the backwoods.
They're all out. I brought you some ranch though.
Extra pepper.
That's hella funny. So you mentioned you played at the JC. You played in high school as well?
Yeah, so I played shit in high school. I played football, basketball, baseball, all 4 years through high school.
All 4 years.
Damn.
All 4
What
years.
was your favorite?
Yeah. What was your favorite, and then what were you best at?
I don't know, dude. Honestly, it was like,
Because you hit like a growth spurt out of nowhere.
Going into my freshman year, it was crazy too. Because growing up as a kid, I was always bigger than everyone. Like I was always way bigger than everyone. And it was like, you know, and then just got to that age where I figured, you know, like not my dad, but you know, some people were like, you know, you're stop growing. You know, it's kind of like whatever. But when I got into high school, my freshman year, I was 5'8", and then my sophomore year, I started towards the end of my freshman year, I started sprouting, got to like 5'11", and then and
that's where I remember you, 5'11".
Yeah, like
I think I graduated when you were going into junior year.
Yeah, like 5'11", like 6 foot, and then like, you know, and it's crazy too because it's like even now, like as a 22-year-old, like I still feel like I'm still kind of like, you know, growing a little bit because every time I see someone, they'll always be like, dude, you look taller than when I saw you 2 weeks ago.
How tall are you now?
I tell people I'm like 6'3", 6'4".
You tell people you're 6'4"
6'4" on a good day.
Yeah, right.
6'5", 6'6".
So it has on his Tinder profile 6'4" on a good
I
day.
had like 1 or 2 to that. Yeah,
Honestly, I feel
That's
that.
hella funny. Yeah, because you're the type of guy that like you picture you in your head, or I picture you in my head, and I'm like, oh, he's like 5'11".
Yeah,
and then I stand next to him, like,
oh
like
no,
massive,
he's
bro.
definitely over 6. Yeah,
That's hella funny.
sure.
that's hilarious.
Okay, so you played in high school, and for those that don't know, dude, you're a fucking baller.
Yeah.
You're breaking
You
state records
balled
senior
out for
year, bro.
sure.
Appreciate
I was
it.
telling Gabe that when I played at Mendo, my first year there, me and Angel Mendoza we lived together, so we would buddy to every.
Yeah.
You know what
Shout
I'm
out
saying?
Angel Mendoza.
Shout out to Angel Mendoza, the boy. We were on our way to a game in Napa.
Yeah.
And this was when you guys, I think, were gonna play in you guys were gonna play against Santa Helena and Santa Helena.
Okay.
And the whole way there, we're just talking, Fort Bragg's gonna play against Santa Helena. It's like for first place in league.
Yeah.
And like we were just so proud because like Fort Bragg was doing really well. You know what I'm saying? And then we could just tell, like, every time we mentioned it, our coach was like super quiet. Yeah. We got to the game, we're warming up for the game, we're like, hey coach, like, is it cool? Hella naive, like thinking, hey coach, like, is it cool, like, if we go to the game, like, leave with my girlfriend and her friend after? And he was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, we haven't even started the game. And you guys are over here talking about leaving after the game. He's like, if you guys get killed today, you know why.
You're not mentally in the game.
I was like, damn, bro.
Like, sorry. I'm just trying to ask a question. Like,
I was like, all right, it's cool. I guess that's a no.
Yeah.
Ended up winning 3-0, bro. We smacked these fools. We play well after he's in a good mood, you know what I'm saying? And we end up going, watch you guys play. Dude, it was a sick ass game in St. Helena. Really nice facilities there.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
But that's what I remember, because I remember there was so much hype around Fort Bragg at the time. There was so much hype around you. And that was me hearing from a town away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't live in Fort Bragg at the time. So I was like, I thought it was so cool that you guys were kind of like representing Fort Bragg and putting us on the map.
Most definitely. And that was like one thing about that game that was kind of funny. It was like leading into that week, I was actually sick. I had the flu.
That was your flu game.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly, like, you know, like I stayed home Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You know, I stayed home that first week or first 3 days. And then leading up to that game too, it was kind of shitty because it was like, you know, we're sitting here and we're 8-0, you know, and we're about to play another 8-0 team in St. Helena at the time. And it was just kind of like, well, like, you know, like you got to step up. Like you can't just like, you know, bitch out. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Hell yeah.
You feel me? So it was like that game was probably the most, I want to say, physically exhausted I want to say I've been, because that game was crazy too. Because honestly, St. Helena, like I going in our senior year, like my senior year, it was like, you know, like you knew that we were throwing the ball. Like it was me, Lucas, like, you know, like we were going the whole way, like all of us, like, you know, like the whole receiving core, I had a whole bunch of studs, like, and that game, it was just like, you know, like the whole week, it was just, the whole time we were just hearing about how we weren't going to be good this game against St. Helena, and you know, it was just like how we were supposed to, like, you know, St. Helena was supposed to be this good. Who
was telling you that?
The press, dude.
The press?
So they would write this shit in the press, basically telling us, like, you know, writing us off, and it was just like, you know, it was crazy too, because like they knew, like, you know, like St. Helena as a team knew that they could not compete with us, because like I'm not lying when I say this, like I've never seen a team triple team one kid in a football game. In a football game,
they triple team
Lucas. They legit put a corner on him, and put basically like a linebacker behind him, and then a safety over the top.
Yeah.
And they would hold him, they would press him, like basically mess with him the whole time. And they knew that like you had to stop both of us, you know, to be able to contain us, and they couldn't do that. But like I said, that game was crazy. That was a whole, you know,
that was a fun game.
Yeah, for surely.
Hell yeah. So you're studying high school. You go to Santa Rosa JC. How did that process go about?
That process was actually kind of crazy, because it was like growing up as a kid. I have a brother who's 10 years older than me, and he same thing. Like, you know, he was a stud in high school. You know, had all these implications. He was an offensive lineman. And he was big boy. He was like 6'6", you know, like 300 pounds.
Oh, damn.
In high school, you know, in high school.
In high school?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Like, you know, 285,
Did he
300
play
pounds.
beyond JC?
So he went to Santa Rosa.
And
then he went to Santa Rosa, played there for 2 years, and then he went to the same school I'm at right now. He went to Midwestern.
Okay.
Damn.
And he went to Midwestern State, played there for a couple years, was a starter at guard, played guard, tackle. Was an All-American, like, you know, the whole nine.
Damn.
And he was actually going to go to the league, but he tore his hamstring a week before the Division II Combine.
Fuck.
Yeah. So he, like I said, he was training for it, and last Combine of the day, or last 40 of the day. Last 40, he was doing 40s. Last 40 of the day, he said it was the last 10 yards. He pulled up, like, you know, like he just kind of coast it. And his hamstring just tore on him completely.
Oh my God.
And it was crazy too, because he had like an agent and the whole nine, and his agent didn't tell anyone anything. They basically just kind of, like, you know, like assumed he kind of gave it up. So then the next year he was still enrolled in school. So a couple teams came by the school and were looking for him, and they're like, dude, like, if you still want to play football, like, we can definitely make this happen. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? And he was like, no, honestly, he's like, you know, like at that time he was kind of like, you know, like,
he was over it.
yeah, and he wanted to start his career. So
What is he doing now?
he's a police officer.
Right on.
Oh,
Yeah.
snap.
Yeah,
Nice, man. Good for him.
he's a cop in Texas. He's been a cop for, I want to say 3 or 4 years now, maybe more, 4 or 5. But yeah, he's been there for a while, and he's worked his way up.
Right on, dude.
Nice,
That's
dude.
awesome.
Yeah,
He's
most
a big
definitely.
cop. Scary cop.
Right?
Yeah, 6'6", 300
Dude,
pounds.
that's who should be on the street protecting
And
us,
on
bro.
top of that, dude ran a 4.8 40.
So you're studying high school, and then how is the recruiting process for you? It's like, so do you go out? Do you reach out to schools? Do they reach out to you? Like,
So
how does that work?
It was like with me, honestly, in high school, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I wasn't able to go to a university out of it. I wasn't eligible. So
You're an Anchor Academy, huh?
I was an Anchor Academy.
Shout out to Anchor Academy.
Hey, honestly, Anchor Academy alumni.
Dude, that was so
Shout
much
out
fun.
Mr. Anderson.
Dude,
Shout out to Mr. Anderson, the
dogs.
boy.
Yeah, Miss T too.
Miss T, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. Shout out to Miss
But,
T, Miss Farrell.
Oh yeah, dogs, 100%. But yeah, I wasn't eligible to go to university out of high school, so I knew right away that I had to go to a JC.
Okay.
So like I said, at that point, I just kind of narrowed down to the JCs I kind of wanted to go to. And like I said, my brother going to Santa Rosa, I was just kind of like, you know, like he went there, I might as well try to go there.
Okay.
So.
And there was no other schools involved?
Oh, most definitely. Like, you know, like I definitely, I've told my parents, like, I thought about going to Butte a couple times. Because I'd always go over there for summer camp. Yeah, quarterback receiver summer camp. Coach Perkins, because he used to coach in the Valley.
Okay.
So he would bring me over there every summer from like my sophomore year all the way to my senior.
And Coach Perkins is the coach for
At the high school.
At the high school.
At the high school, yeah, Fort Bragg High School.
Okay.
But yeah, he'd take me there over to Butte every summer. And, you know, like, it was cool, like, you know, going out there, seeing, like, you know, all the kids out there and things like that. It was more like a Valley thing because it was more like local kids.
For sure.
And we were more like the farthest team to come through, but
Right.
but it was good, like, you know, like seeing all those coaches and seeing all those players from different places and being like, you know, able to be like, oh, compare your game to
Compare
other
yourself,
people.
yeah, dude. I think that's so important, especially for kids in like a small town.
Yeah,
Like
Most
you kinda-
definitely.
especially for us in Fort Bragg, because like we grew up here, and I mean, like especially for individual sports, like for me in soccer, like I'd play around here, and I was like, okay, I feel like I'm one of the best.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not the best, but I'm one of the best.
Yeah.
And then you go to a bigger place, you go to the city, and you're like, okay, like no, there's a
Yeah,
lot
facts.
of guys who are
there's
just
so much
just
I
as
don't
good as
know.
me,
Yeah.
or so much better than me. You know,
Yeah.
so you get that exposure in that club
100%.
or in the.
Were those the
Summer
only
camp.
camps you would go to?
Yeah. There was one more camp that I went to, but it was more like a individual kind of thing. Like no really teams involved. It was more like a single like quarterback camp thing. And I would do some things with a quarterback guy. His name was Will Hewitt. He's a great quarterback coach. Used to be out of Livermore, and he's taught a whole lot of players.
Nice.
Football player wise, like, you know, like quarterbacks, things like that. He's gotten dudes to wherever you think you basically, you know, and they want to
Really?
get to. Yeah. So he moved to Texas, and you know, he's been based out of Texas the last couple of years. I haven't been able to link up with him lately, but it would definitely be good. But he's he's another guy that I would go to. Once in a while.
And so you go to these camps, and when you compare yourself to other players, like, are you still on the top? Like, I know at Fort Bragg you're on the top. So when you go to these camps, like, do you see like, okay, I'm still the best player here, or I'm up there, or how does that?
One thing that like I could tell about myself, and I don't want to be like, you know, arrogant or anything like that, is I know that I have a strong arm, and I know that I'm capable of delivering balls in places that, you know, other people cannot.
Right.
So it's like, you know, like my thing was showing up in like, you know, camps and things like that. I wanted to go out there, like, especially in high school, because it's like in high school everything's about like, you know, like I feel like points, you know, yardage and things like that, you know, and it's like
Stat sheet.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, like my thing was going out there like, okay, like, you know, like you might have quicker feet than me, like, you know, in your drop or something like that, but your arm's not stronger than mine. Like, do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
someone could see that and be like, okay, like, you know, like his 3 steps very quick, but you know, he's got a noodle arm. Someone could see me and be like, you know, his 3 steps not that quick, but you know, his arm's pretty strong. Do you know
Would
what
you
I mean?
say that kind of overpowers everything else? Like ultimately,
mean,
the arm is the most important.
I feel it. I feel like yes, but no at the same time, because it's like I'll never forget when I was you know, I was during when I'd work with Will. He would tell me like, you know, I have a kid, and he would go to Stanford camps, and he'd throw the ball, you know, just like you, like 60, you know, 65, and then Stanford camp, and he doesn't have any offers. And he's like, the only reason he doesn't have any offers is because his you know, his feet aren't as quick as other people's. But it's like in reality, it's like as a college coach, I feel like you should see that. And you being the college coach that you are, like I remember I watched I don't want to like, you know, change subject, but I watched a thing about Lamar Jackson, and he was talking to him about the recruiting process, you know, and things like that. And schools were telling him basically like, you know, like you're too small, like you can't come to our school, you're too small.
How big is he? Do you know?
I don't honestly off the top of my
Okay.
dome. I want to say he's skinny. Like, I don't know how much, but
Is that what you
he
mean by
looks
small? Like
skinny,
not
but-
built?
yeah, like
Okay.
not like a big guy, like, you know what I mean? And he said, well, like, you know, like I understand I'm not big, but it's like that's your job as the college coach to, you know, be providing me with the necessities I need to get me bigger.
Right, I got the talent.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Like,
yeah.
do you know what I mean? And that's one thing, like, I feel like as well. It's like, you know, like college coaches are more intrigued in like, you know, like these little things, like, you know, it's like they'd much rather have a guy with a good 3-step than a guy with a, you know, a strong arm.
Yes, I agree. And that should be the players that are coming up. That should be like something always in your mind to where you get constructive criticism.
Yeah, facts.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Don't always kind of just get down because a coach doesn't like you. You couldn't get into a program. Like each coach has their preference.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Are you good with constructive criticism?
It really depends, dude. Honestly, it's like it depends on the demeanor and like the way it comes out. So
Right.
it's like if you're sitting here and you're telling me like if you approach me and you're like, hey Kaylor, like, you know, you're doing this wrong, like, you know, you need to work on this, like, you know, I'll be like, all right, bet, like, you know, I got you. But if you come up to me and you're just like, you know what I mean? I'm just be like, I'm gonna sit there and be like, oh shit, like what did I do? Like, you know what I mean? Like what did, you know?
Yeah.
And it's
Have
like,
you ever had a coach like that?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I hate coaches like that, dude.
It's frustrating for surely, and it's like my thing is too with myself personally. I get down on myself. Like if I do something wrong, I know that I did it wrong. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and in that little instance, we'll sit there and it'll eat me away, and I'll just be like, dude, like what the fuck are you doing?
Can't stop thinking about
exactly. And even if it's like 10 plays later, 5 plays later, it's like
it's stuck
it's
in
hard
your
to
head.
forget about.
And it's like it got to the point where I'd have to go to I'd have to go to therapy. So like I'd have to. They diagnosed me with sports anxiety. So basically, the way what they said was like like anytime you're in an instance and you mess up, it's like you're hard on yourself, harder than you should be. Yeah, exactly. So you're in you're basically kind of like in your own head type thing.
And then you're in a funk, and then you're not playing well.
Exactly.
And it's like a cycle. You just keep on.
Starts going downhill. Yeah.
Are you still in that?
I have not. I haven't gone to a therapist in a while. But it definitely helped though. Like no lie. Like one thing that frustrates me too is like as men, I feel like people don't want to go to the therapist because it's like we're men. We're supposed to
There's
be
a stigma.
Exactly.
100%.
No. Yeah. And it's like honestly, like like I feel like there's nothing better than getting something off your chest and just being like
no shame.
Yeah, this is what's pissing me off. Like it's like you don't have to bottle things in because like in reality that's just gonna eat you up and that's just gonna keep eating you up.
It's a very old mindset to think like no, you got to deal with it yourself.
100%.
It's like now there's people who can help you. Like why wouldn't you go out and get that help?
Yeah,
I feel it.
Yeah, and I was that is very interesting because I was like talking to you guys off camera about that when I kind of had the same thing, and that's something I can relate to because we've talked about it before. People from a small town, we don't have that understanding of like a higher level to where when you get that level, it's very mentally draining because you're constantly thinking about your mistakes. You're constantly thinking about how you can get better.
Exactly.
And I remember when I was playing for a semi-pro team called Victory in Petaluma in 2017, I had a head coach, shout out to Stephen Purdy, but he was like helping me out a lot. He was like a mentor to me because he played the same position as I did. And he played at the professional level. He played second Bundesliga. He played in the MLS. Damn. And there was a time where I won my position as center back during the season and I got hurt. And while I was hurt that time, like during that time, it was like a period of 4 to 5 weeks. And he would do like one-on-one coaching. He's like, hey, if you want, like we could do like performance psychology one-on-one. I was like, yeah, sure, I'm down. Like it's better than just sitting here. And essentially what it was is like all these things that when he was pro, he was paying for, like helping him out because he said he suffered with the same thing. He's like, look, I was super inconsistent because at that next level, everybody's good. Like what can separate me from everyone else, And he was saying that like after he started taking these like courses and like paying for these performance psychologists, he would like get like he started playing for the national team, played for El Salvador, playing against Chicharito, played against our boy Tony Cruz. Like he was playing against like the best players, bro. Like and it was so sick, bro. Like it was so cool for him to just take me under his wing and show me all that. And he was like we basically did like this plan, this performance psychology plan. It was like a 5-step plan, and it was like. The first plan was like create a long-term goal, a 2-year goal. That's what I chose. I chose 2 years, like within here to 2 years. And he was like, be as ambitious, be as detailed as possible.
What did you pick?
And I was like, within 2 years, like I'm going to be playing professional in Mexico. I'm going to be doing this. My number's going to be this. Like I'm like, and then like, yeah, it was fucking sick. And basically, bro, it was so cool because like each week we would kind of go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper to where at the end, detail. Yes, bro. And at the end, essentially what it is, it's like for like, I'm gonna give you an example. If I were talking to you a few months ago and you were telling me, look, I'm asking you, how is your curriculum gonna look like in the fall for your students? For those that don't know, you're a teacher, right? And you don't know, but you can have an idea of what it's going to be like to where you're giving me like, oh, well, we're going to be online. So I'm going to do this for the first hour. We're going to eat together like on the Zoom meeting. We're going to do mathematics and then we're going to do this and this and this. It hasn't happened yet. Yeah. But you're training yourself or you already have your mind in that.
You're envisioning what is going to happen.
So when it happens, you're not surprised. Right. You know what I'm saying? For so essentially it was like that. Like you're shooting for the stars. So if you hit anything under it, like that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like I've accomplished a lot. Right. And then also it's like when you get to that point, it's not a surprise to you because you've trained your mind into thinking about that. Right. And that's what he was saying. He was like you would train a muscle, like you would train to get a higher vertical, like doing squats, explosive workouts, box jumps. You do the same thing with your mind. Yeah. And a lot of people don't do that. Yeah. And that was something I had to kind of like get out of my shell to do. And at the time it was kind of embarrassing because you're like, well, I want to do this. And you're kind of like expecting him to shut you down. Like, dude, you're not going to play pro.
Yeah. You're
crazy. But it's like, dude, he was like, dude, yeah, of course. Like shoot higher. I'm like, no, this is good. And I wish I would have shot higher because who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like your mindset probably would have changed. But essentially the step 1 was to create a long-term goal. Step 2 was short-term measurable goals. So that was like, I want to run the Cooper under 12 minutes. I want to run a sub 6 mile. I want to run 15 tower runs without stopping, continuous under 30 seconds. There's like towers in Mendocino College that we would run for fitness. So it was all these fitness plans because I thought if I needed to be better, I needed to get more fit because that was always my issue.
Right.
And I could be able to play at my best for longer if I was more fit.
Right.
So obviously you work on your touches, you do all these things, you get more practice and you hit long balls. So that was all part of the plan, but it was like measurable goals that you can see results after like a week or 2. So you could look back and be like, okay, instead of having to wait those 2 years to kind of look back and see.
Right, yeah.
So those measurable goals were almost like steps to get to the top of the stairs. It's each step that you're getting to your long-term goal.
Gotcha.
Step 3 was creating an alter ego, and that was the sickest one because you get to see, like, in your position, you're a quarterback.
Yeah.
You get to see, I want to scramble like Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I want to throw like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Right.
I want to play call. I want to call audibles like Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
So you're picking, and so it forces you to analyze these players' games. In my position, I was saying I want to be aggressive like Casemiro. I want to be confident like Sergio Ramos. I want to find the pass. I want to find the through ball. I want to find the forward at their feet. Like, what's his name? Freaking center back, Benucci. For Juventus.
Yeah.
So I was like analyzing their games, watching their gameplay. So it's like studying the film and breaking these fools apart to see what can I apply to my game. And then he was telling me, what I found super fascinating was that like when he did it, he called it sports psychology. Like the people that were teaching him would call it sports psychology, but he was like, dude, you can apply this to anything. Yeah. You can apply this to a relationship. You can apply this to a business. You can apply this to a career, to sports, to anything. So it's performance. Anywhere where you're performing and you rely on your performance, it's performance psychology.
You find someone who's doing what you want to do at the highest level. Okay, what is he doing? And then I gotta do what he's doing.
How do I do that? That's why people are so fascinated in like, how did Warren Buffett invest so much? So now they start analyzing what he does, what he reads, the reports that he reads, the little details that people don't usually read that he reads. So now people start to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like they improve their performance by just analyzing that guy. So it was super interesting, and he was like telling me like a lot of players like they kind of like switch that on. It's like an alter ego. You're like getting in character, and it was so interesting that he said that because I remember my freshman year, I had a freshman learning community. I was taking a philosophy class, and it was a class of like 125 students, and it would be broken up into discussion groups. So basically it would be like the lecture would be on Monday, and my group would meet literally right after that class, which was kind of shitty. The other section would meet on Wednesday, and we would meet right after that class in another hall. And that was like a smaller discussion group, and we would have to break up and like later on in the year we did what are they called? Presentations. So we'd have to read a paper, do a report, and present on it. And during the presentation, like that process, like the teacher was like telling us like, look, I understand you guys are going to be nervous. You guys are freshmen. You guys haven't done this before. Like, just understand that when I get up here and I talk to you guys, I'm not comfortable. I still get nervous before every lecture. He's like, but I get into character. He's like, and I thought that was so weird. And he was like, I get into character. I act like somebody that likes talking in front of people. And dude, you would never see it because this guy is the most chill, most calm, most cool, relaxed, probably one of the best professors I've ever had.
Yeah.
Dude. And it was just so weird to see. And then finally, when I'm studying this and when I'm kind of applying it to myself, I'm saying, dude, like this is normal. Like this is almost like I haven't seen it from this lens before. To where when I start applying it, like it's, you know what I'm saying? Now I do it every time. Yeah. And then like the step 4 was like sidestepping adversity. And then I forget what step 5 was, but basically it was like a 5-step plan. And after that, dude, it was like night and day. Yeah. Like now, like I don't even think about being inconsistent. No, I don't think about playing bad.
Your confidence is already built that time.
Dude, like
because you already prepared yourself mentally.
It's that's what I'm saying, dude. It's all mental. Like it's not even like I got slower or a lot of times it's conditioning. Yeah, but like it's just understanding. Like, look, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Like I need to play like I'm good.
Most definitely.
And like, dude, that was like one of the biggest things is playing at that higher level that I struggled with. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand a player like you're in position like where they're recruiting local talents from big cities like Sonoma, like Cardinal Newman you just mentioned, bro. Like they have a good reputation, and we're coming from Fort Bragg. Yeah, nobody knows where that is. Like I have to tell my teammates from LA, like, where's that? Oh, it's near San Francisco.
Yeah,
I just have to say
like about 4.5 hours.
And then everybody always thinks it's in Oregon or it's in
right. Like, no, we're not Bragg. Is that a military base?
No, it's
I'm
like
like,
a military base.
So how was your going back to you? How was your freshman year? How was that transition from high school football, where you were a stud, you were a big fish in a small pond, so to speak, and then you go to junior college football? What was it like? What were the differences? What stood out immediately?
It was like, you know, it was different for surely. Obviously going into, you know, the situation like we talked about earlier, like, you know, like with the whole weightlifting thing, like, you know, like I'd go in the weight room right away, and there was instances where, like, you know, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what a hang clean was. I didn't know what a power clean was. I didn't know what, you know what I mean?
Did people around you know what they?
Oh, of course. And the most frustrating thing was, I think personally, was like, you know, people would look at you and be like, you don't know what a fucking hang clean is? Like, you know what I mean?
They're judging you.
Yeah, like, you know, and it's just kind of like, well, shit, sorry. Like,
This is my first time doing this.
Right?
I've never heard about it before. Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
100%. And it's like, you know, like, and it sucks, but like you said earlier, like, you know, you just got to take it with a grain of salt. You just kind of be like, you know, like, all right, well, fuck, it's where I came from, you know what I mean? Like, I got to learn, you know, I got to get better. But you know, it was good, you know, going to Santa Rosa. My first year, like I said, you know, weightlifting thing, you know, that at times stunk, but you know, like throwing wise, competing wise, I felt like I was good, you know. Summer, as soon as I graduated in June, I enlisted in summer school, you know, went and did summer school, and everything was going good. But then we were getting ready for fall camp, and we had our physicals, and during our physicals, one of the doctors was like, hey, like, you know, because they check your knees and things like that, and you can be like, okay.
Right.
So one of the doctors was checking my knees, and he told me that my right ACL was torn.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, what do you mean my right ACL is torn? He's like, oh, you see when I pull on it, like, you know, it's supposed to have some resistance, like, you know, but I'm just
Did you feel anything?
No, not a thing. Not a single thing.
Did you not tell him, like, look, I'm fine?
Yeah, like, no, I did. I was like, it doesn't hurt. And he's like, oh, really? Like, no, it doesn't hurt. And then he just
Well, what about now?
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Basically.
So that torn ACL.
You definitely feel something now.
Yeah. So then he was like, well, I can't let you participate. And I'm like, well, what do you mean?
This is your freshman year?
My freshman year. So I'm kind of like, you know, like, what do you mean you can't let me participate? And he's like, well, you know, like, I can't. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. So I sat out a month, show up every day, fucking t-shirt, shorts, sandals. And basically, you know, I was a ball boy. I even got a nickname. They called me the caddy. You know what I mean?
Dude, that'd be so frustrating, man.
Because, like, you know, because I'd walk around, like, you know, and I was basically, like, I was their caddy. I'd carry 6 footballs with me, you know.
You're not even hurt.
No, not even hurt. And I'm just sitting here snapping footballs, you know. On
You're
a
not
day.
doing physical therapy?
Nothing. Not doing a single thing. Just watching all my teammates practice.
Dude,
does your mind go to a dark place when you're like isolated?
Right.
Because like that's what I've noticed. Like the morale goes down for people that are injured because it's like you're not all of a sudden you're not included in all these activities. You're not able to practice.
I feel like me personally, like at the time, it was kind of like I was in like that mindset where it was like I knew my knee wasn't hurt, so I was kind of like whatever, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like I knew, like I said, I had an idea that I was gonna gray shirt. Like, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't gonna play. Going into my freshman year, so I was kind of like, you know, like I'm just gonna like take it as it is. I was like, I'm gonna go out there, I'm trying my best, but like, you know, like right now I'm not really tripping, you know, it's whatever at the moment, you know, it's just the way it is. He told me I couldn't practice, so I can't practice. But then that month went by, and then I saw an orthopedic surgeon, and you know, he checked out my knee, and he was just basically like, "Yo, you know, your knee's fine." Yeah, and I was like, "All right, sweet."
Whoa,
oh my
god, I knew that. You know, like you're telling me, dude, I've known that for a while.
Yeah.
So
we gotta expose this guy who told you he had a bad ACL.
Fire him.
What's his name?
Hey, don't worry about it. No, but no, he.
So they tell you you're good.
Told me I'm good, and then like, you know, I basically suited up for practice week 1, coming out of high school. You know, like for week 1 at JC. You know, I gray shirted that year. My freshman year.
What's gray shirting?
Yeah. So gray shirting means like, you know, I'm not a full-time student. Okay. So I'll take under 12 units and I'll still practice. I just won't play. To whereas like, I'm sure most people know the term red shirting.
Yeah, that's what I've heard before. Yeah.
Red shirting. Red shirting is when you're still a full-time student, but you practice. So
still practicing.
So the difference is like when you redshirt, like I said, you're still a full-time student. So your academic clock, it starts,
right?
But your playing clock does not.
Right.
Whereas if you gray shirt, your academic clock does not start and your playing clock doesn't start.
Both of them don't start.
Exactly. So it's like you have
got you.
And for those that don't know, when your clock starts, you have 5 full years of full time. So it's 10 full-time semesters.
Yes.
Okay.
So So basically, like, like I said, I was just trying to take advantage of the whole situation and knock out a couple classes my freshman year and things like that.
Right.
Because at that point I couldn't play, and I already got told that my knee was like, torn up. So I was like, all right. So like I said, come out week 1, I practiced that whole year, and that was fine. Like, like gray shirting, it wasn't a problem. Like, I got the classes knocked out, like I was still with the team, still learning everything. It was all good. But towards the end of the year, the team finished 9-2.
Nice.
As a team.
Yeah, that's really good.
It was
you guys
good.
won the league?
They did not. They lost to San Mateo.
San Mateo's good.
San Mateo's very good. They lost to San Mateo
Damn.
to lose a conference.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Still 9-2 is a good
That's
start.
a really good record.
9-2,
Really good
definitely,
record.
most definitely.
Damn.
So they went 9-2 that year, my freshman year, and then going into that spring, for some reason they fired our offensive coordinator. And I wasn't really sure, because it was kind of like, like my biggest thing for me personally, I was like, like I want to go to Santa Rosa because they have the same exact offense that we ran, when I was in high school.
Oh, okay.
I was like, hurry up spread. I'm throwing the ball 50 to 60 times a game. Like, I'm doing my thing. And the offensive coordinator there at the time, like, Coach Ballatore, he was like, my guy,
Right.
and I was definitely like his guy at the time. Like, even though I was gray shirting, like, he respected my game. And one thing I respected about him was we both had like, the same point of view, because he went to Tamales, and Tamales is an even smaller school, like, than Fort Bragg. It's in between like, it's like it's in between like Petaluma and like, a little farm town. And like, like right now they don't even have like enough kids to play 11-man football. That's how small it is. Like,
Right. Small town.
Yeah, small town.
So he understood you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And where I was coming from, you know what I mean? And that's one thing I respected about him, because he was like, I was basically in his shoes before, or he was in my shoes before, and that was neat, because it was like, like he had the confidence in me, and like, he had the whole nine. Like, I was expected to come in there and basically like, take the job over. And he treated me that way too, and I respected that about him. But like I said, watching him leave, and that stung. Like,
Must have been hard.
Oh, most definitely. Because like, like you create this relationship with these people, and it's kind of like, like, oh, like this guy's my guy. Like, he's my coach. Like, he's sitting here, he's teaching me all these things, and then it's like all of a sudden one day he's gone.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's unfortunate, but it's just, it's kind of something like you got to deal with,
Yeah, it just seems weird that the offensive coordinator would go 9-2, and then they leave the next, unless he got a better job offer or something. Like,
nope. He went and coached high school ball the next year.
Bro, I would
crazy.
hate to be on a team in the middle of a transition.
Oh, dude, and
I would hate it, dude. I would fucking hate it.
So that spring, so that fall they went 9-2. That spring, leading into my freshman year of playing, our new offensive coordinator was our head coach.
He was doing both jobs. He was head coach and OC.
Dude,
that's a lot of pressure, man.
That is a lot of pressure.
And on top of that, he hasn't played he hasn't played offense since high school.
When you say play offense, like coach offense?
Like
Just play
anything.
Like he doesn't know anything about offense.
His whole career has been defense.
Yes, he was the defensive coordinator at he was the head coach at Mendocino for years. Mendo JC.
Okay.
And defensive guy. He was a defensive coordinator at Santa Rosa for years. Defensive guy, played linebacker in college. But like I said, I don't know what it was. He just kind of decided, like,
he's gonna be OC.
Yeah, come in and take over.
What a guy!
OC.
How do you feel about that as a player? Like, you go from this guy, you go 9-2 season, you have a good relationship with him, and next he leaves, and now you're like, well, I got this guy.
I'll never forget this. It stinks, because like, I was kind of heard rumors, like, like, hey, Coach Ball might leave, Coach Ballatore might leave. Like, I was like, all right, well, like, it's whatever. Like, I was at the time. And then, like, you put hope and you put faith in other people, and you're just like, hey, like, like, I'll never forget this. I asked him, I was like, Coach Wags, like, like, so what's the deal? Is Coach Ball leaving? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, okay. I was like, so who's the guy now? Like, because like I was anticipated to be the guy. So who's the guy now? And he's like, you. And I'm like, okay. He told me that, and I was like, all right, sweet. You know what I mean? Let's figure, like, I'm good. But that spring, I'm not lying to you, it was like the worst offensive I've ever ran. Made no sense. Nothing was like, it was just bad all around. But that year, it was the year of 17, because I graduated 16, so it was year 17. one of the local kids had a whole bunch of like write-ups about him and things like that, and he was like, you know, he had D1 offers and things like that. His name is Jordan Brookshire. I think I already shouted up Jordan Brookshire.
Yeah,
maybe.
But Jordan went to Newman. And he Coach Wags basically that spring brought him in and was like telling him like, you know, like, hey, like you come over here, you're gonna compete, blah blah blah, and basically kind of told him like, you know, you come here, you're gonna have a job.
right.
So none of us knew that, and there was like 4 of us, you know, going in that year. And when the season started, there was only 2 of us, me and him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like, you know, it was weird because it was like me and him were the only 2 QBs playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it sucked too because in the spring it was like there was times where like we'd get graded, like, you know, like for like, you know, things that we did like playing wise, like if we made a good read or, you know, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like he would struggle in practice, like you know, consistently. But for some reason at the end of the week he would end up on top. Do you know what I mean? As the number 1 guy.
Mm-hmm.
How did that happen?
Was it like a point system?
Yeah. So it was like a point system, but the thing was that we weren't the ones keeping the points.
The coaches were the.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, like I said, that summer rolls around. This is when that spring is when I broke my back. So I broke my back that spring. Summer rolls around. We're getting ready for the season.
Mm-hmm.
And basically week 1 comes up. I just been told that I was going to start, you know, week 1 against Butte.
Nice.
And I'm just kind of like, you know, I'm excited, but they say, hey, like, you know, just a heads up, you guys are splitting series. And I'm like, okay, like, you know, like, what do you mean? They're like, well, you're going 2, then he's going 2, and then you're going 2, and then he's going 2, and like it's just gonna keep going.
It's kind of weird.
That's
Yeah,
annoying.
right? Oh, most definitely, because it's like, dude, especially in football, it's like you can't get a hot hand.
Yeah,
it's like,
like-
you know what I mean? Like you go out there and it's like, well, shit, even if I hand the ball off and he fumbles, like I could get in trouble for that. You know what I mean? Like I could be out.
Yeah.
And not to put this guy on blast, but do you think you were the better quarterback at the time?
Oh, most definitely. One thing that I have to say about him was he was a better athlete.
Uh-huh.
I was a better thrower.
You said he was an athletic freak is what you said
Yeah.
earlier.
Oh, yeah. He was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he could go out there, like, you know what I mean, and truck a linebacker as a quarterback. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? There's not a lot of quarterbacks that can go out there and do that.
You had
know?
a better arm. You had a better.
I had a better arm. I was more accurate. You know, I had a better feel for the offense. To whereas if something didn't go right for him, it was more, oh shit, well, I'm just taking off and running. Like, I'm gone. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And it was like, you know, it just at times it didn't work out for him like that because it's at the end of the day, it's not high school football.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like he realized that, and you know, like I said, week 1, going in there, I started, and then the whole team as a whole played shitty. Defense, offense, we rotated every series or every 2 series. You know, it was all bad.
It must be frustrating.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm
And
not.
how was like your first college game? Like, were you nervous?
Oh, most definitely. I was definitely nervous. And on top of that, like being nervous and then thinking like, you know, like, oh shit, well, I got this guy on my back. Like, you know, if I better not fuck up, you know what I mean?
Dude, yeah,
like,
the pressure.
Oh, 100%. Like, you know, and it's like, like I don't want to sound like, you know, like a coward or something, but I folded. Like, you know, I did. Like, you know, I threw 3 picks that game. We lost 55-0.
Yeah.
You know, and it's unfortunate.
You say 55-0?
Yeah,
Holy
55
cow.
-0.
Against who? Who was it?
Against Butte.
How many touchdowns is that?
Damn.
55 divided by 7.
That's a
Quick
lot.
maths.
That's a lot.
Almost 8 touchdowns. Almost 8,
Yeah.
dude.
And it just, like, you
Holy
know,
cow.
like, it's just unfortunate. But
Everybody just dropped the ball that game.
exactly. Like, you know, everyone, as a whole team, special teams, offense, you know, and it just stunk, you know. But the next week we played, I believe it was Sac City. He started. He played most of the game, and we lost that game in overtime because of an exchange on a handoff.
Yeah.
Like he fumbled it, they picked it up, and then they already scored at that point, so it was game over.
He had to score to win.
Yeah, so they already scored, and we had to come back, and, you know, we had to score to tie it up. So we
Right.
were just kind of like, all right, bet, like, you know, we'll score, you know, we'll tie it up, and we fumbled,
Damn.
you know, turned it over. And then the week after that, we played Delta in San Joaquin, and he played well. Like he played very, very well against Delta, and I'm not gonna lie to you, Delta was the only team I think we played that year that was worse than us.
How'd you guys do that game?
We played, like I said, he played well. As a team, we played pretty good. We won like 35-21 or something like that, which is like, you know, 2 touchdowns. and then the next week we played Fresno. I played a pretty good game.
Are you guys still doing two series?
Two series. Yeah. So we're splitting it.
Damn.
I went in there. The third series of the game. We're down 7. Came back. Scored a touchdown. Threw another touchdown before half. Went into halftime, and then we come out and they're just like, "Hey, by the way, Jordan's going out there."
You just scored a touchdown and then you go on.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Oh my gosh.
So I was kind of like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, shit. Like,
how do you take that as a player, man? You got the hot hand.
Yep.
And you got to go sit out now.
At the, I feel like I'm such a team guy, and I feel like I have enough confidence in the coaches to be like, all right, like, if you feel like this is what's right, then that's fine. It's fine by me. Like, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I take it with a grain of salt, and I just sit there and it'd be like, all right, like like cheer them on, like
for sure,
as you should.
Exactly, most definitely.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's still my team. Still my teammate.
You want to get the
But
W.
isn't that such a weird dynamic that it's like, I want to play, but the only way I can play is if this guy fucks up.
Yeah, right. 100%.
So, but you're not gonna be sitting there rooting for him to fuck up.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's still preseason, right? So I get that, but I feel like by the 4th preseason game,
that
feel
should
like
be
you
squared
should
away.
Have an idea.
That should be squared
you
away.
You should know
man.
who's your number 1, who's your number 2.
Yeah,
facts.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So we lose that game.
You end up losing that game
against Fresno.
Damn.
So we lose that game against Fresno. We're about to play Sierra, and at the time, I'm just kind of like, like our 0-4. I'm just sitting here. I'm just like, dude, like our best receiver is playing defense. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. What do you mean? No.
My buddy Lucas Triplett. For some reason, they recruited him.
Shout out to Lucas Triplett.
Shout out to Lucas
he's
Triplett.
a baller.
Facts. Dude's a stud.
So he was playing defense.
Had him at safety. The first 4 weeks had him at safety.
What's up with that? Why is he playing safety?
They thought like, he's gonna come out here and he don't get me wrong, Lucas is a freak athlete.
Right.
Yeah.
They thought he was gonna come out there and he was just gonna like just tear it up at corner. So that Sierra week, we get him on offense. And no lie, first play, Lucas comes in and first play, like I said, as a receiver, and JUCO goes up. Moss as a kid snags it out the air.
Yeah,
his first play as a receiver.
His first play as a receiver.
Dude, what a savage.
Dude,
shout out to Lucas, dude.
Savage, dude. So he goes up there, like I said, Moss.
That was his first play of the game, or is it your first play together?
His first play of the game.
Damn.
Dude.
His first play of the game.
Yeah.
So then, like, we lose the Sierra game as well, unfortunately. And long story short, that whole year, Jordan, there was times where Jordan played the whole game. I want to say week 9, we play DVC. We're in DVC, and we're over, and like I said, same thing. They tell me like, like this is what's going on. We're like, heads up. Like, I'm like, all right, I bet. So halftime rolls around, and I haven't gotten a lick. Like, I haven't got shit. Like, I haven't smelled the field. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm just been sitting on the fucking sidelines the whole time. And we get into the locker room, and the quarterback coach comes up to me, and he's like, "Kaylor, get your fucking shit together. You're going in." Like, bet.
Say less.
Were you guys losing at that time? Okay.
Yeah. I'm just like, and we're, like I said, at this time, we're 0-8. I'm just like, bet. Like, fuck
Damn.
this. Like, go in there. I think I slung like 2 or 3 tuds. First play, quick slant, Lucas Triplett, boom, single receiver side, takes it 80 yards to the house.
Whew.
We're coming out the house.
Let's go.
Coming out the half, I'm just like, bet. You know what I mean? Like, sweet. We came back, and that was our first win of the season.
Damn, dude, that must feel so good.
And I played,
yeah,
and I
bro.
played that for that whole half. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was all you.
Yeah, 100%. Like, like let us back as a team, And it was such a relief too, because it's like, fuck, that's our first win, like of the season. Like, it's so sweet. So then that next week we played De Anza, and De Anza was a great game, no lie. It was a good game. I played fairly well against De Anza. I threw 5 tuds. I had 2 picks. But I think I tied like the school record for most tuds in a game or something like that. Something like that. But like I said, I threw 5 tuds that game. We won in OT. And that was a great game overall. Like it was great to go out on a win. Like it finished the season 2-8 sucks, but finish it with a win. Was great. So going into that next year, that spring, we got a new coach.
Again.
A new head coach?
new offensive coordinator.
New vet- okay.
So this is a third OC in 3 years that I've had to learn.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just, it's at this point, it's just been
But same head coach?
same head coach,
Okay.
same head coach. It's just been hectic. So, you know, so we get this new OC and we meet him at a barbecue. He's already been in our program for a couple of years, but I didn't really like, you know, pay attention to him because he was like an assistant linebackers coach or, you know, or something like that, or assistant receivers coach, you know.
I always thought it was so weird how like the football team is so like decompartmentalized.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many factors to it that it's like
facts.
the offensive coordinator doesn't know some of the defensive players.
Yeah.
Or you don't know some of the special teams.
No.
Right.
And then
100%.
soccer and
Yeah.
basketball, you know everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
I always thought that was so weird.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so you meet him at a barbecue.
So I meet him at a barbecue and we're just like, hey man, you know, we're just talking to him and he's just like, oh, like, you know, I'm just letting you know. He's like, I'm going to push everyone. He's like, but I'm going to push you the hardest. And I was like, you know, like, all right, you know, I understand it. Like,
Like,
he goes,
all right,
yeah, like,
guy,
okay.
Calm down.
Chill out, we're just having fun
Like,
here.
we're at a barbecue, man.
So,
I just want my burger.
yeah, facts. So I'm just kind of like, you know, like, all right, you know, I understand it. So that spring, I'm not lying to you when I say this, like that spring I struggled. Going in my sophomore year, it was hard because I've never had a coach get on me so much, and I don't want to say belittle me. Do you know what I mean? Like tell me I'm stupid.
He talks down to you.
Yeah.
That's what you're kind of talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like you don't really receive that well.
No.
That,
I don't. And it's like, you know, like you tell me I'm stupid, tell me I can't play, tell me like, you know, I wasn't made for this, or like, you know what I mean?
Damn.
Basically just like, you know, shoot me down.
Trying to challenge you, but it
Yeah.
does the opposite.
But exactly.
In
But
the
you know,
wrong
it's shown
way.
it in like, you know, hard ways.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I don't receive well to that. And it's unfortunate, you know, but that spring I struggled. And that was all rough, you know. And June, I want to say June 6th, June 7th of 18, I came home one day, and it was like, you know, I came home and I hung out with Lucas for a couple hours, and then I went home to my mom's house, and I walked in the house, and I walked in and I found one of her foster kids, and it was just like it was Katie, and I was just like, "What's up, Katie?" And you know, I just didn't get a response, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Do you know what I mean? I was just, Katie, and nothing. And I'm just like, dude, what the hell? And like, I check on her face, and like, you know, her eyes are kind of rolled in the back of her head. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I call 911, you know, I'm sitting there and like, I have to pick her up out this chair, and I grab her and I put her on the ground, you know, and I'm giving her CPR and stuff. And then all of a sudden the cop shows up, and, you know, he rolls in, and the ambulance shows up, and, you know, it was just kind of like just like quick, like what the fuck is going on? Do you know what I mean? And it was unfortunate because I walked in on her and she was having stomach problems. And they gave her a pill for her stomach problems, and it stopped her heart, and she died. And no one knew about it until like, you know, like I got home, and she, you know, it stuck because it was like, you know, here's this 16, 17-year-old girl, and you were just hanging out with your buddy, you know, a couple hours ago, you know, and it's like, it's your sister, and, you know, you just lost her, and you could have maybe done something about it, you know, and it just like, you know, it was unfortunate, and it just sucked, you know, and that put a burden on me, you know, like, you know, it made me think like, you know, like what if for a while, you know, and it's like, on top of that, going back to school right away, I didn't skip a beat, you know, like I didn't do anything like, you know, to take time out of it. You know, I was just like, I just got to proceed with my life. You know, I got to keep going, you know, and it was like, they didn't see it as an instance where it was like, okay, like, you know, this kid's going through a rough time. Like, you know, like, let's you know, it was more of a, this kid's going through a rough time. Like, you know, let's just keep adding on to it. I feel like, and during that time, there was a kid, and he was a local kid. Went to Roanoke Park. I went to Rancho Cotati High School. He went to Humboldt State, and they just shut down their football program. And he came back home, and like I said, basically, you know, instead of being like, hey, like, you know, like this kid's going through a rough time, he's been here for 3 years, like, you know, learn from him. It was more of a, I feel like it was more of a, hey, this kid's going through a rough time, you know, take his job. Like we don't need, you know, there's no room for any of that. Like, take his job. That's it. And I'm just thinking like, okay. And him coming into the instance, like we've talked to him, like, and we communicated with him. He'd be like, you know, I think I'm gonna gray shirt this year. I think I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna sit out.
Right.
And we're just like, all right, I bet. You know what I mean? Like it's good. So week one, or not week one, but leading up to week one, we have a team scrimmage. Team scrimmage rolls around. This kid's getting the same amount of reps as me. And it's just for, like, if it's first day out there, like, do you know what I mean? Getting the same amount of reps, getting the same everything. And it's kind of like I said, like, they didn't take it as like, you know, like learn from him. They took it like more of a take his job. So they're giving him the same amount of reps as me, making, you know, giving him more opportunities than someone else to come up and take my spot so they can give it to him. Do you know what I mean?
Damn. So
week one rolls around, or excuse me, before week one, we play Sierra in a scrimmage. And I'll never forget this. Playing Sierra, and we run this play. We called it Trout, and it was about the slots. The slots ran a 10-yard out, and then the outside ran a 10-yard post. So you had to read it. And I don't remember what the coverage was, but the post was open, and Lucas was 1-on-1, and I overled him or something like that. Something bad, you know. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but you know, I overthrew him, and I came off to the sidelines, and the guy came up to me and he goes, "Stop guessing." And I'm like, "I'm not." He goes,
The coach told you that?
The coach, yeah,
Okay.
the OC. He goes, "Stop guessing." And I go, "I'm not." And he goes, "Yeah, you are." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And he's like, "Yeah, you are." And I was like, "Dude, no, I'm not. I'm not guessing. Like, why are you telling me this?" Grabs me by my face mask, pulls me into him, and goes, "You're fucking guessing, dude." He goes, "And if you keep fucking talking back to me," he's like, "I'm gonna punch you square in your fucking face." And I'm like, okay. Like
shit.
Dude, that would piss you off.
Like,
so
what
bad.
am I supposed to say to that?
You don't say shit,
you
bro.
can't say anything.
You don't say anything.
No.
And when
You
he tells
can't
you
say
you're
anything.
guessing, just
That's
like,
your
yes,
OC.
coach.
Exactly.
Yes, coach.
Do you know what I
Like,
mean?
Dude, you're wrong, but
So-
what the fuck? Like, that's the thing, bro. Like that a lot of players don't understand. It's like you can only control what's in your, like, what you can control.
Facts.
Exactly.
You can only control what you can throw, what you can see, what you can do, what you can move. Once the coach makes a decision to bench you, once they make a decision to fucking rotate you out, to give the other person the same amount of reps, there's nothing you can do about it. It's out of your control. So don't
Exactly.
stress over it. You know what I'm saying?
And you pissing off that person is not gonna help.
It's not
you.
gonna make
You
it
telling
better,
that person,
bro.
like, no, I'm right, and this is why. Like, that's not. They don't care. They're already fixed minded. They know what they think, and that's it. Like, you telling them, no, this is actually what I was trying to do. You know, if you explain yourself there, it's not gonna help you at all. It's gonna piss them off even more.
Facts.
Dude.
So
Damn.
Shout out to that guy.
No, shout out to that guy. Screw that
Dude,
guy.
that made me so mad.
just wait.
Okay, so what do you do then?
So then week one rolls around. We play Fresno week one. None of us played good. We all played bad. We lose that
It's
game.
preseason.
Yes.
Okay.
We all played bad. We lose that game. Next week against Butte. Oh, by the way, sorry. Me and the kid are also splitting series.
Okay, so
Okay.
back to like
So
what you were
back
doing
to
last
what I
time.
was doing.
And during this process, are you close to the guy? Are you guys
No.
friends? You
No.
guys don't talk to
'Cause
each
you
other
just
at all?
met him, right?
I just met him. And it was like, the thing that bugged me, it was like, I don't know. He was
Was he cocky at all?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the thing that pissed me off the most, you'd be like he'd make a mistake or something like that, and you'd be like, dude, like, you're fine. Yeah, I know I'm fucking fine. Like, do you know what I mean?
Oh my god!
Like, dude.
I already don't
Dude,
like
I
this
had
guy.
a friend like that. I had a friend like that over in San Bern.
Really?
Dude, yeah, bro. Because
Always
it was
talks
like,
himself up.
we'll come back to this. Don't forget the story. But basically, like, I want to talk about this because I had a friend, and my first year, I told you that I redshirted at San Bern.
Right.
So while the team was traveling, we would have captain's practices. And the captain at the time was also redshirting because he had something happen with his EKG test, and he was like having a heart problem, so he couldn't travel, and he didn't play that first year that I redshirted. So it was a really good core group of like 15, not even 15, probably like 10 to 12 players that would like sit back and play, you know. And there's the same kid, bro. This kid is a hot shot out of where he was from. I don't even want to say any names. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to fucking. Do you know what I'm saying?
Shout
like
out this guy.
Shout out to this guy. He's so funny. He's a cool guy. Love him. Love him to death. But same thing. Like we would be playing and be competitive. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like a player, like, you know, like I talk shit.
Yeah.
I just like to talk shit. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It gets like it gets me going. But I wasn't talking shit to this guy. He was on my team. He was on my team. We're playing
shouldn't be talking shit to him.
we were playing small side. We were playing possession, and he would keep fucking up. And I'm like, dude, just shake, like exactly what you just said. Shake it off. It's fine.
Yeah.
Shake it off, bro. Like, don't forget. Like, let's keep going. Like, boom, makes a mistake. That's fine. Yeah. Play here. And then like I said something like, dude, don't even worry about it. Like just shake it off. And he's like, dude, Izzy, shut the fuck up. He was like, Izzy, like, dude,
And it's like, dude,
you just keep talking this and that. I'm just like, and I'm like, bro, we're on the same
trying to
team.
help you. I'm trying to like pump you up.
And that's why I thought it was so
Facts.
funny because it wasn't even like it wasn't even like I was saying anything negative to him. I was trying to like reinforce because he kept making mistakes.
Mistakes.
Yeah, like, don't forget
And
about it.
I think that
You're
was
still
bothering
good.
him. Like you said, like I know I'm fine.
Yeah.
And that's
Like,
kind of how he was. And I just thought it
exactly.
was like the funniest thing ever.
It's
Like,
just like,
ah,
dude,
man.
and it's like you're saying, like you don't mean anything about it.
Yeah,
it's just like, dude, like like take it like with a grain of salt, like water off a duck's ass, like you know what I mean. It's just kind of like move on.
Duck's ass.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
I like that though.
That's loud.
But you just kind of move on.
Water off a duck's ass, bro. Damn. We got the Coast Boys support that.
That's the message for the day.
Man, just water off a duck's ass, bro.
Go on.
So you're competing with this kid and you're trying to hype him up or you're trying to just reinforce him and he's like, I know I'm fine.
He's
So you
making
get that vibe
mistakes.
from him.
So it's like
Week one.
Yeah, week one. So like I said, week one we play shitty against Fresno. So week two we play against Butte, and he starts. I played great that game. I come in. I threw 2 touchdowns, ran 1. I threw for like 150.
Nice.
Damn.
Killed it.
Yeah.
Played in a quarter and a half.
You guys are still alternating.
Yes, I played in a quarter and a half because I got a grade 3 high ankle sprain in the second half because they were gonna let me play the whole second half, but I sprained my ankle like midway through the third. But we were still up by like fucking 3 or 4 touchdowns. Like,
Was this kid a start? You don't have to say his name, but was this kid a start at Humboldt?
No, he was like the 3,
Okay.
but or something like that. I don't know what the deal was over there, but he left because they were closing their football program.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I was going to play the whole second half against Butte, and Butte at the time had the #1 defense in the country, like the whole country, because they had like 5 turnovers that one game, like week one, like 5, 3 interceptions, like 2 fumbles, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think they played Delta or something, like, someone who wasn't like, on top of, so they got their stats up basically. So I come in there and tear it up against Butte, grade 3 high ankle sprain, play as much as I can. We beat them. The next week, don't skip a beat. I'm out there Monday. We just played Saturday. I'm out there Monday. And I got my ankle taped and things like that. I can't run with the team because Monday's conditioning day, so I just walk. And then I go back into the training room on Tuesday, and they're just like, "Hey, dude, like, are you planning on playing this week?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like it's my sophomore year. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is my recruiting year. Like, I have to play.
And your game's on Saturday,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's Tuesday.
Right.
And then I'm like, yeah. And they're like, all right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's fine. Like, you can play, but just know, like, we're not going to let you do any live period this week. Like, you can do everything but 11 on 11. We're like, all right, bet. So I did everything but 11 on 11.
Okay.
Going into that game, he didn't tell us who the starters were.
And when do you normally know who's starting? The day before, 2 days before?
Usually it's like two days a day.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And
Like,
so you just didn't
have an
say
idea.
anything.
Didn't say anything. So then the game starts, we get the ball in the kickoff. And
you still don't know at this point?
me and this kid look at each other and we're like, are you going? And he's like, I thought you were going.
You're like, fuck it, I'll go.
So then the coach looks at both of us and goes, Kaylor didn't fucking practice all week. Get the fuck in there. Like, to the other kid.
Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking,
And you were ready to go, though.
yeah. And I'm thinking like, wait. You just hold on. Let me back this up. You just told me I didn't practice all week.
Uh-huh.
I missed 4 periods all week.
Right. You did
Which
everything
were
else.
11 on 11.
Right.
Did everything but the 11 on 11.
Which is what you couldn't do.
Because they wouldn't let me.
Yeah. Right.
You
So you did everything else that you could do.
but they would not allow me to do 11 on 11. So he told me I didn't practice all week.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just kind of like, all right, fine, bet. So going into that game, he played for like, a quarter or something like that. And he hurt his hip. So I went in.
Uh-huh.
I played. You guys ever see the clip of John Elway in the Super Bowl against I don't know who it's against, but he gets Superman and he's sitting there, he's just flipping.
Mm-mm.
I'm not lying when I say this. I got like ridiculousness helicopter. Like one dude took out my legs, another dude took out my upper half, and I'm in the air and I do like a full 360, like spinning, like like just like no control, land on my dome, and I was concussed.
Fuck.
I played that whole game concussed. And then that Monday, we won. We won by like 2 touchdowns or something like that. I threw a tud, like it wasn't a big deal. That Monday, I heard about how shitty I played, how bad I am, and how I'm not good at college football.
Who told you that?
The OC.
Jesus.
I don't like this guy. I don't know him, but I don't like this guy.
Damn, bro. So was this like an ongoing thing all season that you would like think you played well?
Just wait.
Okay, go on.
You're gonna.
Okay, so
like,
he's saying you're playing shitty. You're doing all this.
playing shitty.
And then
I'm
what?
doing bad. So then the next week we play the College of Sequoias. And that week was the week that my father told me he had cancer.
Fuck.
So my dad tells me he has cancer that week after the Shasta game. He tells me, like, we're driving home. He goes, hey man, like, I don't want to put anything on you, but like, just a heads up, like, I this is what's going on, blah blah blah. So that Monday I tell him, like, hey, I tell the OC, I'm like, hey man, I was like, I'm just letting you know this is what's going on. Like, my dad has cancer, like this is what it is. And he's like, he's like, it's shitty, man. I'm sorry. Like, it's unfortunate. I wish I could do something, like,
right.
But if I'm you, he's like, if I'm you, I'm going into this game this weekend. And he's like, and I'm playing this game for your dad.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, you're right. And you know what I mean? You're
For sure.
100% right.
Dedicated to him.
He didn't play me that game.
Wait, what?
He's like, yeah, you're cut.
Wait, what?
Dude, what a fucking douchebag, bro.
Didn't play me that game.
What?
He put me in the last
Did
two.
you guys win that game?
Yeah. He put,
Okay, so the other guy was doing well, I'm assuming, and that's why maybe he didn't put you in?
No. He came up to me that Monday, the following Monday.
Right.
And he comes up to me and he goes, Kaylor, what happened on Saturday? And I'm like,
You didn't fucking put me in, coach.
I was like,
We won?
I was like, wait, what do you mean? What happened on Saturday? And he's like, well, I was really looking forward to you going into that game. And I was like, well, I was really looking forward to you fucking telling me to go into that game.
So wait, what's going on then? Why is he telling you that? He expected you to
just fucking walk on the
jump
field.
in,
Yeah.
or
Like,
what?
have you ever?
It's my time, coach.
Yeah. Have you ever heard an instance where a player's just like, hey, like, that's too serious. See you. Like, bye. Like, I'm going in. No.
That's his fucking job.
Yeah,
it's to
facts.
tell you, okay, now you're going in right now. You're going in for him. And
So he comes in. He comes up to me that Monday and goes, so what happened on that game on Saturday? I was like, what do you mean what happened? He's like, well, I was really looking forward to you going in. I was like, well, I was really looking forward to you telling me to go in. He's like, oh, well, it's just a miscommunication, it's all right, it's all good, we're good on both ends. Like, you good, I'm good, we're good, all right. Like, you know what I mean? So that next week, we played Feather River.
Wait, did he acknowledge that he made a mistake?
No.
No,
Not one bit.
Based on what he was saying, it just sounds like the coach was like, "Oh, it was a miscommunication.
Yeah,
it's all right, man.
No.
We'll let this go
No,
under
he
the
did not.
bridge.
No,
it's
did
water
not.
under the bridge. Don't worry about it."
Did not man up one bit. Made it seem like it was a miscommunication on both ends. Like, it was like, you know what I mean? It was all good.
It sounds like he was just expecting you to step up and be like, "Hey, coach, like I'm going in now."
Yeah, and it's like, no offense, but it's like, when have you ever heard a player just be like, "Hey, coach, you're gonna put me in"?
No, yeah.
Like, have you ever
don't
heard
hear
that?
No.
No.
Actually,
So-
funny story. Hold on.
Okay, good.
when we were playing at Mendo, bro, we were chilling, and there's this kid. I don't want to say any names, but there's this kid that like wouldn't play ever.
Yeah.
Would never play.
But he was on the team. Right.
Kinda. He was like, I think he registered like 4 times.
Is that a thing?
Wait, I think I know who it is.
No, don't say
Nah,
that.
hey,
Shout out that guy.
man.
Shout out that guy, but we're not gonna say names.
But dude, it was so funny because we were playing a game. I wasn't even playing. I was playing for victory, and we were playing against Mendocino College.
Yeah.
And it was just
Okay.
funny because this happened while we were playing the game, and bro, the second half, Shane starts telling people to warm up, bro, and this fool gets up, starts warming up, and then like goes to the side, and is like, "Hey, ref, sub, whatever," and Shane's like, fucking talking to the players on the sideline and doing this and that, and then finally they make a sub, and and like the coach is just sitting there, and he like looks over, and this kid goes in, and he's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "When the fuck?" He's like, he turns around, he's like, "When the fuck did you guys like tell him to go in?" So he goes in and plays like 5 minutes, but literally had never gotten a game. This is in the spring, so like never played in the fall. For like the 2 years he's been there. And he's like, "When did you guys hear me tell him to go in?" And everyone's just like looking at each other like, we didn't.
Did you tell him to go in?
I
told him to go in. I didn't tell him to go in.
He subs him out, bro. And then he comes out and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, I never told you to go in." He's like, "Oh, my bad, coach." He subs himself in. And coach is over there bitching people out on the sideline. He had no idea this fool just got up and went and asked for a sub, bro.
Funny.
That's what you should have done, Kaylor.
Right? I'm like, "Oh, coach, my bad. I didn't know."
The moral of the story is you should have. I told them I'm going in and just got in yourself.
So funny. So then that next week was our bye week, and my dad passed away that week, and it was it was unfortunate.
I'm sorry, man.
I appreciate that. The whole week I didn't, I wasn't at practice. I didn't do any of that because it was our bye week. So I stayed with him the whole week, and then we came back that Monday.
Stayed with who?
I stayed with my dad.
Okay.
The whole week.
You're back in town.
Yeah, I was in Fort Bragg for a week, and then I went back to Santa Rosa that Saturday or Sunday or something like that because I had to go back because we played San Mateo that first week.
Did any of the coaches know?
Oh yeah.
So how long was it when you found out he had cancer? When he told you, and then when he passed away?
It was 2 weeks, man.
And did he find out he had cancer, or he just had it the whole time and he knew, he just didn't want to tell you?
He knew and he didn't want to tell us.
Okay.
So how long did he know? Did you know? Like
a while. So that was a shitty thing too. Like,
and I'm assuming your mom knew.
No.
He just kept it to himself.
So that's one thing. I mean, I got to respect him for it because he's the type of person that didn't want people to worry about him.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
And at the same time, it's like,
it's tough.
I don't want to say he wanted to go out on his own terms, but he wanted to go out and, like I said, not have people be like, "Oh, well, fuck, like Mike's got stage 4 cancer, lung cancer."
Party,
none of that.
I'm gonna fight it myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I respect that.
There's some merit to that.
And that's one thing, like, like he knew he had lung cancer for for a while, and he talked to the cancer doctor, and that was one thing that was shocking for us too, because it's like during that whole instance, it was like the cancer doctor came through and they'd be like, "Oh, what's up?" Like, like, "I'm talking, like, what's wrong with Mike?" And we'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, "What do you mean what's up with Mike? How the fuck do you know Mike?" And they'd be like, "I met with Mike a couple times. Like, we've talked about this and that. He's known for," and we're just kind of like,
what's going on?
Yeah,
what
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, at the end of the day, it sucks. So, like I said, that's who he was, and I have to respect that because that's how he wanted, to go out.
Yeah.
But like I said, it was just, a shitty 2 weeks. So then that first week going into San Mateo, Jake started the whole game. He played the whole game. I got in 2 series. My first series, I got in, got tackled mid-throw. I was right here, legit, about to deliver a strike, got tackled, threw it right to a linebacker as I'm in the air. Do you know what I mean? Next one, kid tries to run an out route, gets jammed up, hemmed up, tip, pick. Okay, well, sub me out.
It's tough.
So then basically I didn't play a lot. Honestly, I played maybe 4 series the rest of the year.
And do you think mentally you just weren't in the game? Is that what it was, or you just didn't play the
you
game?
were going through a lot,
Because, dude,
man.
you just went through something so traumatic. Like, no one can expect you to just jump right back into football and just not miss a beat.
And I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, when I say this, like I was telling you guys, like, earlier off camera, where I've been like, Renee Carmona's got me out of a few instances.
Right.
I've been
Shout out to Renee Carmona.
Shout out to you, man.
Great,
For
sure.
sure.
Love that guy.
But I've been in I've been in this funk, and I'm not lying, since my dad passed, and it's been like, I used to want to wake up and go to weights and go throw and do all this stuff, and I feel like I lost that because I had dickheads coaching me, leading me down shitty directions, and trying to lead me down this path that they proclaim is a great path. But, it's not the right path. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and like you said, like, going through that dramatic time and the dramatic heartbreak, it's like, it's like, you don't know how to respond as a person. And I felt like I lost myself at times, and I lost like what it is that I liked, and I loved, and that was football ultimately. And I'll never forget this. Like, you know, like I was over at his house and, you know, we were drinking one night. It was me and Renee. And I was telling him about like all these things that I wanted to do. And like, you know, all these. And he was just like, dude, he's like, bro, he's like, if you want to do this, and he's like, I'm sick of you sitting here talking to me every single day, talking about what it is that you want to do. He's like, just fucking shut the fuck up. And he's like, and go out there and just do it, dude. He's like, work out every single day. He's like, read fucking your books every single day. Lift the weights every day. He's like, don't talk about it. You know, just go out there and do it. And it was like hearing him say that just like made me be like, oh, fuck. Like, you know what? Like, this guy's right. Like, you know, I can sit here and I can be dwelling in this pity party, you know, as long as I, you know, I can. I could be like, oh, well, shit, my dad's not here. Well, you know what I mean? It's like, I can't do that anymore. You know, it's like, I got to find my own path and I got to, you know, figure out things that make me happy. And, you know, like I said, like, no lie, like hearing him tell me that, it was just kind of like an awakening, like, you know, and it's like, I feel like I found that passion again, like that love. Like, you know, I feel like at times was taken away from me. Like, I didn't get to express myself.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. Shout out Renee. Because sometimes it's what it is, man. You just need somebody else to kind of just open up your eyes and be like, listen, dude, like you're in a slump right now, but look at you got all this potential. You got all this ability. Go out and do it.
Absolutely, man.
You have all the potential to do this thing.
And especially a person like Renee, like you guys have a lot of similarities. You know, you grew up together and then now you lost a father figure, which is fucking heartbreaking. You know what I'm saying? Man. Like that is horrible. And Renee, like the same thing. You guys have a lot in common. You know, like he doesn't have that father figure in his life as well. Definitely. So it's a very important that and you guys, like I said, you guys grew up together. So it's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool that he would take you under his wing like that, or just kind of like give you those that advice that he's been dealing with his entire life.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And one thing, like, you know, like, and one thing I respect about him too is like, you know, like seeing me in the dumps, he could have been like, you know, like, hey, like, you know, like let's just like, you know, keep going, like, you know, like let's fucking like, instead he's just like, you know what, like I don't like seeing you like this, like, you know what I mean, like what can I do to like, you know, like help lift you up and make you better about yourself.
Dude, shout out Renee, bro.
Facts.
That's that guy.
Big,
it's so funny because me and him used to hate each other. I was just a punk, and he used to be really good friends with like Christian and David, and this was when I was in middle school and they were in high school and they would hang out and go to lunch and stuff like that. And I just kind of like would see that friend group and I'm like, who is this kid? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are they hanging out with him? And his sister was dating Josue Estrella at the time, Josh Estrella. So that's how David got into like knowing Renee, and that's how Renee got into the clique.
Gotcha.
And I just didn't like him. I thought he was like a weenie. I don't know. And we
he was a weenie.
Yeah, we just talk so much smack to each other, bro. Like, and then like we'd always go play basketball together. We'd play soccer. Like I just didn't like him. As simple as that. And I would talk smack, and I would let him know I don't like you, dude. Like, listen, like you're in my friend group.
you're a punk. I hate you. That's so funny.
Yeah, dude. But then Big D and Christian talked about it. They went to shout out to Big David.
Yeah,
David, follow his stream. He's gonna start streaming gaming. Dude, shout out to David.
Shout out David.
But him and Christian talked about it on the podcast that he went to Grizzly Academy.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and that was in high school. So when they went, the only people in the friend group that were left were like me, Steve-O, and Renee.
Yeah.
So we just started hanging out, and I was just kind of was like, dude, this kid's sick. Like, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what it was. Looking back, I don't know what it was. I don't know why I didn't like him, because now I love the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's like a brother to me.
Facts.
But at the time, I just didn't like him. And it's just so funny because we always talk about it, and like me and him are like butt buddies, and we tell David, like, dude, you leaving was like the best thing that ever happened to us. Like I wish that would happen every single day.
That's so funny.
But shout out to Renee, dude.
Facts.
Yeah, so going back to you, so you said you played 4 series the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So how was I just want to know, because Pete, for those that don't know, where are you playing now?
I'm at Midwestern State. I'm in Wichita Falls, Texas.
So what is that?
It's a Division II school.
NCAA?
Yeah.
So you're playing NCAA ball. How was that recruiting process for you, coming out of a program where you feel like you weren't dealt the right cards? So you felt like you were a step behind the entire time, which from the sounds of it sounds like it was. It sounds like the coaches favored other players. When you had better reps, when you had better games, when you had better experiences at that junior college level, how was the process kind of getting recruited? How did you go about it? Who did you talk to? How did you email coaches?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what advice did you seek?
I feel like the recruiting process was definitely difficult for me, because I didn't have a full season worth of film. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have a full consistent season worth of film. Do you know what I mean? I had half a season over here, half a season over here.
You're always alternating.
You know what I mean?
It's tough. Yeah.
100%. And it's like, you know, that's one thing that didn't help me. I feel like my recruiting, like my highlight film is legit called Kaylor Sullivan's career highlights because it's my my JUCO
Everything.
career.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's like that's all I have. You
Usually
know?
people have sophomore highlights, freshman highlights.
In
Oh, is
fact,
that how it
junior
usually is?
highlights.
Oh, okay, I had no
You
idea.
don't put together all of them. You
Yeah,
just
one
do
whole
this
thing.
season.
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
and it's
okay.
like,
I
do you
had no
know what I
idea.
mean? It's like I put together all my best plays, like from my freshman year to my my sophomore year, trying to get myself noticed,
Right.
and it was frustrating because it's like like me personally as a person, as a human being, I have these great goals, I have these great aspirations, and it's like the schools that I'm hearing from are just like like schools you've never you can be like, well, where are you at? Like,
What do you-
yeah, you know what I mean?
Like NAIA
yeah,
schools.
like NAIAs, like D3.
They'll take anything that moves.
Yeah, like D3s, like you know what I
Anything
mean?
with a pulse, they'll
Yeah,
take.
honestly.
We'll give you a full ride scholarship,
Yeah,
man.
right.
You'll be the man here. It's like,
And
dude,
it's
I didn't
just
even
like-
know.
and
You
it's
weren't
like-
about that.
Yeah, right. Like like I feel it. Like I've seen tons of dudes that not play and then go to it, an NAI, and it's
Yeah.
like like that's not me. Like I feel like that's not. I feel like with my arm talent and things like that, like that's
You're
not,
better than that.
Yeah,
Hell
most
yeah,
definitely
better than that, dude.
And it's like, so that was one thing for myself. That was like during the whole recruiting process, like at the JC, like the only coach that would help me try to get to my goals and like you know what I mean was Coach DePaulo. Shout out Coach D, my guy, Coach DePaulo.
Coach D.
Shout out you, man.
But Coach D, and one thing I loved about Coach D was he knew about the hardships. He saw me like all 3 years that I was there. He was a defensive coordinator for the full 3 years that I was there. Do you know what I mean? And like he knew everything from the get-go all the way until the end. And it was like that was one thing I respected about him was he cared about me as a person and like, do you know what I mean? Not just like, not just a football player, like off the field, like, are you eating? Are you doing this? Are you know what I mean? Are you okay?
How are you mentally?
Exactly. Like, do you know what I mean? And he would take his time and his day out of like, out of it to let me know like, I'm doing good in practice or, and that was a frustrating part at times too. Cause I'd be sitting here, listening from like, oh, how I did good in practice from him. But then the other thing, offensive part, I'd be hearing about how bad I was doing. You know what I mean?
Damn. Must have been tough.
It was for surely. And that was, like I said, one thing I respected about him is he knew my goals and he knew my aspirations and he was willing to help me get to those.
Nice.
And like, you know what I mean? And that's all you can ask for as a player is just have someone like, have faith in you.
He's in your corner, man.
Exactly. Supporting you, like, and it's just like I said, I would get schools like, offers from like NAIs, D3s and things like that.
Did you ever consider those?
No,
Never.
definitely not.
I was too talented for that, man.
No, and it sounds like people that don't know it would sound as think it's arrogant, but dude, like you have goals.
No, 100%.
You have aspirations. So why would I settle for anything
Don't
less
settle.
than that?
That's what I'm saying.
You
Don't
know what I'm
settle.
saying? And it's kind of fucked up when you turn down a team like that. But it's like, dude, it's not even that I don't think you guys are good. It's just I would rather go here.
Exactly.
This is what I want. You know what I'm
And
saying?
that was my biggest thing too going to Midwestern. Like I have enough confidence in myself, like playing wise and ability wise that I can be like, okay, like, I can come into this program and I could be like, all right, like maybe like, like for instance, like going in there, I showed up as a 4. Do you know what I mean? Like I showed up as a number 4. I was there for a week before fall camp started, and it was like, I worked my way up to the 2.
How did you get recruited? How did you get there?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Mm.
So the whole recruiting process was it was difficult. Like I said earlier, my brother went to Midwestern State. And the whole, like I said, I was trying to get my own film out there and I sent it out to every FCS, every FBS you could think of. And I was just like, dude, like, hopefully D want to come calling, And finally my brother goes, dude, like, you need to, like, it was getting to July. And I was like, you need to figure out what it is the fuck you're gonna do, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, all right. And he's like, well, here's this coach's email. Like, he was coaching here when I was there. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, you reach out to him. So I did. I reached out to him and he was just like, hey, like, I was like, hey, coach. He was Coach Renner. I was like, hey, Coach Renner, like, my name's Kaylor Sullivan, blah, blah, blah. My brother went here, and just some full on paragraph, sent him my film.
Right.
All that. And then he gets back to me and I'll never forget this. He emailed me and he said, all right, 1 sec. No, I was like,
That's all he says?
Yeah,
That's all he said?
That's all he said. It's all right, 1 sec. And I was like, what the fuck?
This is over
right?
email?
Huh?
This is over email?
Yeah, over email. He
You're
just
just
said,
like,
all right, 1 sec. And I was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
So then like the next day the head coach emailed me and he like, he called me and things like that. And then the quarterback coach would call me and, and it was, it was good,
Was it good off the bat? Like, hey, we
almost
really want
definitely. Like, it was like, hey, like, like based off of what it is, like here we got a couple quarterbacks. We've got like five quarterbacks here, but based off everything we've seen, like, we think you can work your way up, blah, blah, blah. And ironically, that's what happened. Like I said, I showed up a week before camp, was the 4 at the end of camp, worked my way up from the 4 to the 2.
What year was this?
This was last fall.
Last fall. Okay.
Yeah, from the 4 to the 2. That's impressive. Hell yeah.
So worked my way up from the 4 to the 2. And but I didn't know this. Do you know how like the redshirt rules in D2?
Kind of elaborate. Like, what do you mean?
So like there's a new redshirt rule in Division 1. And the way it is in Division 1 is, for football at least, you can play up to 5 games and you can redshirt.
Gotcha. So I think it is like you have to play less than 25% of the season.
Is it
so red shirt? That's a medical red shirt. I don't know if they've changed it for just regular red shirt.
Yeah. So that for regular, for like FBS, so it's like you need to like Alabama, all those big schools. Those like, a freshman that's good enough to start, he can play in 5 games, then be like, you know what, I'm good. Like, I don't want to play this year. Next year will be my freshman year.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when I was at Sanborn, it was if you play a minute, 10 minutes, you're out.
Done. You counted as
fucked up. You can't redshirt anymore.
So that's
unless you get hurt.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's D1. In D2, I assumed it was the same thing because the NCAA is a fat organization. They're grouped. You know what I mean?
Right.
So game 1, I got in. One game I got in. We're up 77-0 or whatever it was. I got in, and then everyone's coming up to me being like, "Man, like, props to you, props to you." I'm kind of like, "What are you talking about?" And they all were just like, "Well, you lost your red shirt." And I was like, "I did not." Like, I assumed it was 5 games. Like, do you know what I mean? And then it was just kind of like, and it's unfortunate. So I only have one more year to play, play football. So.
Damn.
Dude, oh my God. How did you not know? Who was supposed to tell you this? Or
I assume, like I said, the NCAA as an organization would be like, like if it's like this for 1, it's got to be like that for 1 through 3.
So how was your first year at Midwestern?
It was good. It was a learning experience for sure, especially rolling into like I said, like a situation where it was like, I'm not anticipated, be the guy right away, like a work your way up type thing. That was definitely, it was one of those things where it's like, you gotta work with it. We're learning the offense and, like going in there right away and creating like, all those new bonds and things like that. It was definitely like, it was hard at times.
Yeah.
Because I'm out of my element, you know what I mean? Like I'm in a totally different environment, like I'm a totally different people I don't even know, but it's like, you just kind of like, you live and you learn, and it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like you said, like you learn those relationships, you learn those people. And like I said, it went well over there, for the most part. Working my way up from the 4 to the 2, that was great. And then like I said, I got in the last game of the year for like, some meaningful minutes. And it was nice. Like, I got in against West Texas, and at halftime we were losing, 24 or 27-3 or something like that. I got in, I want to say like halfway through the 3rd, and I went like 12 for 18 or 12 for 15. I threw for like 110, 115 or something like that.
Damn.
I had a tud.
Nice.
And I had but unfortunately I had a pick, but I brought us back, we lost 34-24 or something like that,
Nice.
And it was just like, just being able to go out there for a little bit and just, play the game. I haven't been able to do that in a while. It was just, overall it was good.
Do you guys have a big crowd there?
Oh yeah, dude. And that was a crazy thing too about that game, that West Texas game. It was, I'm not lying when I say this. They probably have the nicest stadium in Division 2. Brand new, like maybe like 8-9 months old, like stadium.
Oh no.
New. Yeah. So the way they set it up too is their student sections right behind our bleachers.
So it like goes all the way around. It's not just like high school 2 on each side.
All the way around.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's loud.
fucking jumbotron, huge, just like the whole 9. It's clean, but like I said, and they got like 4 or 5 upper decks. It's just all nice. But their student section was right behind ours, and it was funny because like they had like 30 or 40 students right behind us, just talking into a microphone, PA system, and it was just like all bad. And it was just the funniest part ever. It was just like we were down maybe like 27 to 24 or something like that, or and just hearing them just shut up. And I'll never forget this. One of my old linemen, his name's Gonzo. He's just like, y'all shut up real quick now, huh?
Just not saying anything.
Yeah, just not a fucking word.
Do you like it there, man?
Most definitely. You know, I love.
Oh yeah.
I love the environment. I love the my teammates, like the whole, most of it I enjoy, most definitely. Like I said, the work ethics, like they instill a work ethic in you, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, we're up at 5 a.m.
That's awesome. That's awesome when you're like, with like something we talked about with Anderson, like when you're surrounded by people that think the same.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I want to wake up at 5. I want to go lift at 5. Like this person wants to do that. I want to fucking wake up at 4:30.
It's motivating.
Facts. You know what I'm saying?
Most
like,
definitely.
dude, it's so sick to just be surrounded with those people, because there's times where you're like, fuck, I don't want to lift today.
No, facts.
I don't want to lift
Everyone's
today.
gonna
And then
have
someone's
those
like, dude,
days.
come on, let's go lift. And it's just that little push. You're like, all right, fuck it.
Most
I'll
definitely.
go. You know what I'm saying? And then once you're there, it's like you didn't even want to. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's like, and especially like, I feel like the most rewarding thing is after, like me personally, like afterwards, you just kind of like sit down, make some breakfast and chill out. Just kind of
That's the best part. The best part
I'm
is
done.
working out in the morning, and then just be like, and then later on that night, you're like, fuck, I have to work out. Like, wait, I already worked out
today.
I got it done out of the day.
Yeah, dude, that's the best part. Just getting out of the way and just hanging out and having the rest of the day just do whatever.
That's why I think working out or getting the hardest thing done that you need to do that day in the morning is the best you can possibly do. Because if you overcome that and then you finish that,
and just
the rest of the day's easy.
Yeah.
It's very true. That's why they say you should do your bed every morning. But I'm like, fuck that.
because they say it's like if you do your bed in the morning, it's
like a little accomplishment.
Yeah, like one of those things can get your day going.
Yeah,
I feel that though.
So, do you see yourself in Texas after school?
I don't know. That really depends. I'm trying to get my teaching credential right now.
Okay.
Trying to become a teacher, and like and on top of that, become a coach. And I feel like, money wise, definitely over there would be more beneficial than coming back over here. Like, as a longevity, and as a career, and like I said, like I'd much rather, make, a couple, 1,000 more coaching and teaching than I would, just maybe teaching over here,
For sure.
or something. You know what I mean? Most
Yeah.
definitely so.
Nice.
That's awesome, dude.
Oh,
And teaching credential, is that like your major, or how does that
No,
work?
so I'm trying to be. I'm a history major right now.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get my history.
How do you like that?
It's all right.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out Matt Mall.
Shout out to Matt
That's
Mall,
what
the
I do, history
homie Matt
major.
Mall. It says a lot of reading, a lot of fucking writing.
Really?
That's what he
This
said.
is history.
in his
I don't know.
upper division course, he said it was a lot of writing.
Yeah, it was
like
a lot of
25
writing.
page papers for his final page.
Fuck that.
That was
For
a
his final
Sonoma.
paper,
That was a
yeah.
Sonoma, right? He said-
It's whatever. It's a history major.
right.
It's a history
Hey,
major.
I don't know. I'm
Whether
just
it's in
saying.
Sonoma or in Stanford,
I
it's
don't know.
history's history.
I don't know.
But the other day, I majored in history.
Facts. I
We're
feel
at
that.
and online at the University of
I teach
Phoenix.
tech.
Yeah.
That's cool. And if you were to coach, you'd coach like what age group are you thinking? Are you thinking like up, like higher levels or?
I definitely think like like higher levels, like probably like a high school or college. Don't get me wrong, like I love little kids. I love like coaching little kids and things like that. But it's just like I feel like I'd want to be in that the competitive stance
Totally.
right
There's a
out the
difference.
gate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a huge difference.
You know what I
man.
mean? To whereas like, don't get me wrong, like it'd be great to develop kids and, and then, teach them, but it's like at the same time, I want to be able to
Steer them in the right direction.
exactly
like-
and critique them and show them the right ways to do things, and,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
when you should lift the weights and when you should do
You can give
this,
them more
you know
than
what I mean?
just like
exactly.
run with the ball or whatever.
Facts.
yeah, especially if somebody from your perspective, it's like you played D2 ball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like not many coaches here can say that.
Yeah.
So it's like if you were to come back, and that's another thing too, like something that I'm starting to notice, like how you say, well, I'd like to go over there and get experience. I would say from my personal experience, what I'm learning now is like a lot of people, well, in my position, marketing, let's say marketing. But from what I heard, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about how there was lawyers in New York, and it's so hard because the retention rate is so low because they kind of constantly work for the government and then they go off and do their own like lawyer firm. They start their own firm, and it's like they work for the government, get that experience, and then they go off and do their own thing. So it's like if you were to go in Texas and you would coach this bigger team, or maybe a player coach at your college, maybe if you were to be like a quarterback coach or something, or help out there, you get a good job in Texas, and then you come over and you help your community because you have that bigger experience.
Yes.
So you're worth more to your community.
Most definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
As opposed to just kind of stopping, having no experience, and coming back it's like with that experience over there, you learn, you get to see your identity as a coach.
Exactly.
What you would do differently from your coaches that you've had in the past. And then come over here and you perfect, or not perfect, but you can shape the future generation moving on.
And that was and that's my thing too. I think overall, that's one thing like I wanted, like I said, try to accomplish. I've been doing this. I feel like this whole thing, like, you know, going to school and playing football, because I'm not just doing it for myself, you know. I just want to set an example and, like, you know, let the younger generation be like, you know, like, if fucking Kaylor Sullivan can do this, you know, I can do this, you know what I mean?
Totally.
I can go out there, you know,
yeah.
and play football, you know, I can go out there and play soccer, whatever it is you want to do, you know what I mean? And like I said, like you said, you know, like there's not a lot of people that can sit here and say, like, you know, like on the coaching staff, be like, you know, they played Division II ball. At the end of the day, it's like, you know, like let's get more people to come out here and be like, you know what, I fucking played college football. I went to
I'm
school.
sure you can count it on two hands who have played D2 ball here for football.
Yeah, facts.
Like I can think of probably 2 or 3. But like it's very rare. That's what people don't understand. It's very rare for people from Fort Bragg to go on and play NCAA
because we're so small. Yeah, we don't have that kind of competitive mindset, that competitive mentality where we're just like you're surrounded by all these people who are trying to become that. Like here in Fort Bragg, it's like if someone tells you I'm going to become pro in this, they're like kind of laugh at you.
Yeah.
Or just like we talked about earlier, like I wanted that, so I went to JUCO. It's like some people would just give up on it. Like,
No,
I wanted to go play a cow, but it's not realistic, so I'm just going to stop playing. It's
No,
like, dude,
it's
why?
like-
What the fuck? Why?
it's
There's
like-
other ways of getting to what you want.
And that's my thing too. It's like most of the time I feel like, especially now, it's like kids are like, oh, well, fuck, out of high school, I didn't recruited by, you know, so-and-so or so-and-so. So it's like, I don't want to go to a JC. It's like, dude, like, no, like you don't know. Like you could be a fucking diamond in the rough. You can be this great athlete, you know, just unfortunately you went to the wrong high school, you know? And it's like all of a sudden
That's
you go
a
to a
big thing.
JC and you ball out and it's like, you know, like,
bro.
for example, like, you know, like I said, I told you guys earlier, I played against Brandon Ayuk and, you know, in JC, and he's from Nevada, you know, Reno, Nevada. You know, I don't know what his recruiting status was out of high school, but he went to JC, you know, went to Arizona State for 2 years, and now he's fucking with the Niners. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you finish and how you do in that starting point to your finish.
You can make it happen. You just gotta put in that effort. You gotta put in that work. I think that's with anything in life, honestly, man. If you just dig down, you're like, no, I want this, and I have a path of how I'm gonna get this.
Facts.
And you do it, you can accomplish it, man.
Absolutely, man. And I think that's a perfect note to end it on.
For sure.
This has been a great episode, dude. I just want to thank you so much for coming on, man.
Appreciate you guys for having me.
Fucking
honestly.
lit.
It's been good,
Dude, hell yeah. Everybody for listening, everybody watching on YouTube. If you're listening, stop what you're doing, go watch it on YouTube.
Watch it.
Everybody checking us out. Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Kaylor, you want to shout out your Instagram real quick, or do you know?
Hey, Kaylor Sullivan 12 Instagram.
All right.
We'll
Okay.
plug you
Follow
up,
him,
man.
Hell yeah.
Follow, what is it, Midwestern?
Midwestern.
State.
On any social media content.
Hell yeah.
All right,
All right.
boys.
Thanks, guys, for listening.
Good
Appreciate
stuff,
it.
boys.